Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Hey, the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl contenders again. Do we remember when everybody was panicking? Yeah, okay. Before you start getting your fingers worked up in the text line, yes, I was one of those people that was worried, all right? I was showing concern. But I, like many others, was probably a little bit presumptuous in thinking the worst of our beloved Kansas City Chiefs. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams. Full show tonight, full boat, 6 to 9 p.m. We're with you this evening. We're going to talk Kansas City Chiefs football, some news today that we'll get into, maybe looking ahead a little bit. We've got that big Monday night showdown against the Washington Commanders that everybody's going to be looking forward to. Talk about Monday Night Football last night. A couple of results that weren't surprising necessarily. I think that they went the way that most expected them to, but there were some notable themes that came out of both of those games last night as the Lions beat the Bucs and the Seahawks beat the Texans. We've got a World Series matchup, and the poor Seattle Mariners. My goodness, what a collapse by Seattle in that series as the Blue Jays come back from down 2-0 in the series to win it in 7 games. We'll discuss Game 7 last night. We'll talk about this World Series preview. Hint, hint. Everybody should still be picking the Dodgers, but we should do it spitefully. We'll talk college football because we got a Sunflower Showdown on Saturday. KU, K-State, that one's going to be a lot of fun. Mizzou is going to be on College Game Day this week. Yes, the game's in Nashville. They're going, to Vanderbilt, but it's to see the Commodores take on the Tigers. That one's going to be fun. I know that there's not a big appetite for it, but frankly, on a night like tonight, I do not care. The NBA is back, and I want to talk about it. I'm a basketball guy. I am one of a few people, maybe in the Kansas City metro area, that thoroughly enjoys the NBA. I always have. I think they're the greatest athletes in the world, regardless of sport, and I stand by that statement. And I want to talk a little bit about the National Basketball Association because I think it's going to be a very, very interesting year because of some high-profile injuries that already exist going into this season because of the litany of superstar injuries in the playoffs last year across the NBA. Also, a few quick hits out of the NFL. The Jets continue to be the Jets in showcasing how to be the worst organization possible. We'll discuss that. Russell Wilson, usually a very calm, cerebral person on social media, getting into a little bit of a tete-a-tete with a former head coach of his that we'll discuss. The Angels made a managerial hire, and it's not Albert Pujols, and so much more here on the program this evening. I do want to, I want to kick something off. This is more on the personal side of things. I won't get into too much detail, but I just wanted to give a shout out really quickly. And he doesn't listen to the radio all that often, but my father-in-law had a bit of a situation this afternoon. He went in for what was supposed to be just like a routine 30-minute procedure on a gallbladder. It ended up being much more serious than that. They had to remove it this afternoon. He's doing well. He is in post-op. He is in recovery right now. Should be able to, according to my mother-in-law, be released from the hospital tomorrow. But it's been a scary few months. He's had so many complications. He has been sort of a shell of himself for the last few months. And if for those who know who I am and know who my father-in-law is, you know exactly what I'm saying. My father-in-law has always been, for as long as I've known him, and my wife and I have been together for 11 years. We've been married for only 2 of that, but we've been together since we were in high school. He's always been this like larger-than-life figure, at least for me, and I'm sure that my wife and my brother-in-law probably feel the same way. He's always going. I mean, he works at the Ford plant full time. He's done that for years and years and years. He's a military guy. He's an Army vet, and he's always I mean, like the true essence of a blue collar guy, right? Like complete opposite of me. He's 6'2", 6'3", 280-pound, just mammoth of a human being who works at the Ford plant full time, and he does home improvement stuff. He builds houses on the side and does roofing and siding and guttering and all these. He's always doing something 1,000 miles an hour all the time. He's working on cars in his spare time. He's just the most incredible work ethic I've ever seen out of a human being in terms of just like the physical exertion that man gives on a day-to-day. And for the last 3 months, he has been miserable. He's been in so much pain, bedridden. He's been to the doctor so many times. They couldn't figure out what was going on. And finally today, it seems like he's going to get better. And for the sake of obviously my wife and my mother-in-law and our family, that's huge. But for him more than anybody else, because he's been just a different human over the last few months, and you felt so bad for him. And he's going to hate this if he hears it, because that's just not the kind of person that he is. But I'm so happy for him, happy for everybody in our family that he's going to get over this. So I kind of just wanted to lead with that because, he's somebody who means a lot to me. It's not the most reassuring thing in the world, I'm sure, for a father when their daughter marries a guy who works on the radio for a living, but he's always been super supportive of us, like my wife and I as a couple, and who I am as a person, because we are very different people, right? I work in an office and I sit in front of a microphone and I yap. That's what I get paid to do, is just be a talking head for 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours a day. And so we are very, very different people, but he's done nothing but love and support me and support my relationship and the life that my wife and I are building with each other. So I just wanted to kind of lead off the show with that situation and just how happy I am that everything is sort of looking up at this point.
So this 6'2", 6'3" man could have taken the route of intimidation, and every man listening knows what I'm talking about the girlfriend that you have in high school and her father, and he scares you, and he chose not to. From what it sounds like, that's huge, man.
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, and he didn't have to try to scare. I mean, I was. I mean, from the moment I met the guy, I was so scared of him for years, and it took me a while because he's one of those dudes. He has an extremely dry sense of humor, one of those people that you have to get to know him for years before you can determine whether he's being serious or if it's a joke, because it sounds the exact, his cadence, his tone never changes. And you just have to sort of, for a while there, it was just sort of sit and see how he would react. Because if he would laugh, you'd be like, oh, okay, it's a joke. Right. We can laugh about this now, but a lot of the time you couldn't. So he definitely scared me, but it was never intentional. That's just kind of who he is. He's a very regimented, like I said, he's a military guy. So it just always had this, like I said, larger than life kind of persona. And I'm just happy he's better, man.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an afternoon that might have started off scary, but ended up with answers and, pain relief and things like that, and a path forward, and that's a blessing. So very happy for you and your wife and your family.
Yeah, an answer that we've been waiting for months at this point, but it finally seems like we are on the other side of that now, and now it's just about recovering from the gallbladder surgery and getting better, and we're very, very happy about that. All right. Let's move on. Let's get out of the serious stuff. Let's talk a little sports. And how about the Kansas City Chiefs? That 31-0 drubbing of the Raiders on Sunday. They've got the Commanders coming to town on Monday, which we will discuss here a little bit later on. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, but maybe the only big news story of the day for the Kansas City Chiefs is that they did officially put rookie defensive tackle Omar Norman-Lott onto the IR. We all saw that coming. With the torn ACL announcement yesterday, this is not a surprise to anyone. There is kind of an interesting side story with this situation. So Omar Norman-Lott goes on to the IR, which means a spot on the 53-man roster opens up. Well, what do the Kansas City Chiefs do with that? they sign a DB to the 53-man roster in the form of Kevin Knowles. Kevin Knowles is a rookie defensive back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He played at Florida State. He was an undrafted free agent for the Seminoles. He's spent pretty much all of this season onto the practice squad, but is now being moved to the active roster, which leads me to ask a question. What exactly is the situation with Christian Fulton, and what purpose is this man serving exactly? I don't really understand what in the world is going on with the Christian Fulton situation, because this is a player that you signed during the offseason away from an AFC West rival in the Los Angeles Chargers for $20 million. I mean, Christian Fulton right now has not appeared on the active roster for the Kansas City Chiefs this season in a regular season game. And you're paying him a total cap hit of $7 million this year. Okay, maybe, I give you the benefit of the doubt a little bit because I don't know if anybody anticipated Noel Williams being as effective as he has been early on in his career. But even with that situation, he's been playing on very limited snap counts. Joshua Williams is not playing any defensive back for this Kansas City Chiefs team, like at all this year. He has more or less just been relegated to a special teams guy. And as we all know, there is not a player in the National Football League with more special teams penalties over the last 2 seasons than Joshua Williams. I know that McDuffie is cornerback 1. I know that Jalen Watson is CB2, right? You're trying to bring Noel Williams along as that third cornerback. Why is Christian Fulton not then like your CB4? You're just paying him $7 million to be a healthy scratch every week? Like, is he that poor a performer? I don't know. It just feels like that's not being discussed enough right now. Like, what in the world is happening with Christian Fulton? What purpose is he serving this football team right now other than the fact that he's due $20 million over this year and next season in terms of that 2-year contract?
Yeah, this was a question that you raised in the press box Sunday multiple times. It's been bothering you before today's news, and today's news gets me on board with you with this question. The only thing I can think of is injury recovery. And I know he's been a full participant in practice, so the team has not designated him as that, but he has to be less than full strength, or at least compared to when they signed him. His body is in a different shape compared to when they brought him in. Now, the text line is flooding with this answer. I know Twitter has been flooding with this answer, and I might lean there as well. Present day sounds like he could be traded here in a few weeks, and I'm with you, but I don't think that's why they're holding him out. It's either he's in the doghouse or he's banged up. I mean, those are the only 2 options that you're elevating some other guy. Noel Williams could have taken his job and pushed him down on the depth chart, sure. The amount of money you're paying him, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless injury was the initial reasoning for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, because I know he had the ankle injury like during the preseason and early on in the regular season.
Right.
But it's reaching a point now where, like, his designation on Sunday was he was inactive by coach's decision.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's a $7 million decision you're making every week, because that's his cap hit this season. Yeah, if you trade him, then fine. But is there an NFL team out there that is willing to eat a $20 million 2-year deal for a guy who's been a healthy scratch for the better part of a month plus at this point? I don't exactly know, but it's sort of strange is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think to wrap up the trade conversation, I think at most you'd be getting a very late pick, a 7th round pick perhaps, from a team that, had a guy that's out for the season, that's now weak at that position. And it's not going to be a 1-for-1. I don't think it's going to be a trade where you send Fulton for a pass rusher or Fulton for a running back. But, to recoup value that you lose in one of those trades, that makes sense. Yet, I mean, I have no idea as to the reason, Logan. It could be something to where the trainers believe he's healthy. He doesn't believe he's healthy. It's pure speculation. I just believe this had to have started with the injury. There's no other explanation for that as to why you'd give him the contract that you gave him, and now he's not playing due to a coach's decision. Got nothing else for you. It's getting weird.
Hey, Brad Holmes, GM of the Detroit Lions. Could I interest you in a corner in exchange for, say, a 6th round pick? Who says no? Because I think you're right. I loved you, and I was going to bring up the point as soon as you were done of the Chiefs may have to give up a 4th or a 5th round pick to get a defensive lineman or an edge rusher or a running back, but I don't really see running back happening at this point.
I don't think a guy of like Kamara's level is going to be traded to the Chiefs. If they get one, I believe it'll be a very late pick. But yeah, for a pass rusher, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you give up a 4th or a 5th for, say, like a Jalen Phillips of the Miami Dolphins, a guy who is on the last year of his rookie deal. They're probably not going to pick up his 5th-year option because they're in cap hell right now in what looks to be a rebuilding sort of a situation with all the money that they're paying Tua right now, and they don't have an opt-out on his deal until after the 2026-27 season. So if you have to give away some draft capital in order to acquire a guy like that, which you almost have to at this point in the way the NFL is structured, a guy like Christian Fulton could certainly be used as a carrot that you could dangle to try to get some of that draft. Is it going to be a 1-for-1? Are you going to be able to trade a 4th round pick for Jalen Phillips and then get a 4th round pick for Christian Fulton? No. But you might be able to trade a 4th for a guy like Jalen Phillips or a Calais Campbell and get a 5th or a 6th back in Christian Fulton. Is it exactly the same level of value? Absolutely not. But something's better than nothing. And when you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you have so much money already tied up in guys like Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and now George Karlaftis and Nick Bolton, you're going to have to use picks in order to fill your roster. And there hasn't been anybody in professional football better at that in the last 5 years than Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs. They just need to have the picks available and at their disposal in order to do it.
Right, not to mention, this team is up against the cap already looking at next season. So if Christian Fulton is a healthy scratch guy, would love to get that money off the books now. So, yeah, and look, it could. I know on the drive, Rob brought up Will McDonald of the Jets. The hot name online is Kayvon Thibodeau of the Giants. These are not guys that are going to go for 4th round picks. These are guys that you might need a 3rd. You might need a 2nd late pick to get a guy of that ilk. And look, if Christian Fulton is then himself traded for a 6th as to recoup that extra pick in the trade, I'm fine with that, especially if he's healthy scratch guy. I don't want depth guy to be on the books for $10 million next year. I love that guy, not at his price point.
Yeah, I mean, looking at how many picks the Chiefs currently have in the 2026 draft class, they've got a 1st rounder, a 2nd rounder, a 3rd rounder, 2 4th round picks, a 5th round pick, and a 7th round pick. They do not have a 6th. They traded away that 6th round pick for Joshua Uche. Well, that was worth it. So, I mean, they got the 4th round pick from Chicago in the Joe Thuney trade. So you do have an excess 4th round pick at your disposal if you want to use it. Or because you have 2 4th round picks, you could justify maybe trading away a 3rd in order to get some. And maybe it's a situation where the Chiefs give away a 3rd in exchange for a pass rusher and that 6th round pick. To get something back to try to keep a little bit of draft capital, because the Chiefs have been pretty good in the 6th and 7th round, comparatively speaking.
I think it'll be a mid-round pick goes out, a pass rusher and a late-round pick come in, and then an extra late-round pick comes in for Christian Fulton. If I had to bet right now, that's how the trade deadline would play out.
I'd like to see that. I mean, draft capital is what Brett Veach does. You know, you're in a situation where you've got 7 picks right now. If you could trade for a defensive lineman, trade away Christian Fulton, and somehow come away with 8 picks instead of the 7 that you had initially. Now you're going to walk away with a 5th and a 6th, or a 6th and a 7th, but giving away a 3rd, is not terrible, in my opinion. 913-586-7965 is our number. We'll continue to talk Chiefs. I want to kind of transition into the Monday night game. Look ahead, a week away at this point, but I kind of want to look towards that Monday night game against the Washington Commanders, how things are shaping up for Kansas City, how things are shaping up for Washington, and what it could mean for both of these teams come Monday night. After Hours, 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
I'm retired, newly retired, so this was my first summer not working again. But I had problems with my shoulder. I mean, it was just like 1,000 needles going into my shoulder.
Mike didn't want surgery. 6 months in a sling was not how he planned to spend retirement. That's when he heard about QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
It's a free appointment. And after the first treatment, the next day, I went out and played golf. The pain just wasn't there.
No drugs, no surgery. Just your body's own natural healing power. Orthobiologic concentrated and placed exactly where you need them to go to work.
I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I don't want to take on Mike Tyson, but he'd know I was there.
Now Mike's heading back to QC Kinetics to get his knees treated.
It changed my first summer being retired. It's one I can remember instead of regret.
Get back to doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today to schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Hey, shh.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Clear skies are expected tonight with a low of 43.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples. That was easy.
He's back.
The Chiefs come on a flip pass to Rice, near side, touchdown! Kansas City! They load the right side up again. A single, the near side, Todd Rice! Touchdown! Kansas
Rashee Rice, his second touchdown.
Monday Night Football at Arrowhead. Chiefs and Commanders. With pregame starting at 4. Kickoff at 7:15 right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
If you're a casual observer of the National Football League, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs record of 4-3 and you think, this is an up and down football team. Well, at the beginning of the year, yeah, but they are rolling right now. They are playing their absolute best football, in my opinion, of the last few seasons. I mean, you beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday night by 2 scores. You come back the next week and you pitch a shutout in the National Football League in a 31-0 beatdown of a division rival in the Las Vegas Raiders. And yes, are the Raiders a bad football team? Absolutely. I will not argue that point with you. But it's a division rival. Nobody plays you tougher than the teams inside your own division. You see them more than anybody else. They know the ins and outs of your game better than any other team in the league does. And to pitch a shutout in this league is incredibly hard to do. I mean, I don't know how many shutouts the NFL has seen in the last 15 years. I mean, it can't be many. I mean, just in the last 5.
Either. Garbage time is a thing, like
Right.
teams use it successfully. What happened last Sunday felt rare.
3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. There have been 21, 22, 23 shutouts in the NFL in the last 5 years. That's it.
Okay, so 4 or 5 a season
4
across
or 5
the league.
a season.
Okay.
Yeah, across a 17-game regular season plus the postseason over 5, hundreds of games, possibly
so
approaching.
There's one a month in the NFL.
That's not many. And so to do that against any team in the NFL is an incredible feat. To do that against a team within your own division, and not only pitching a shutout, but holding that team to 3 first downs and less than 100 yards of offense is absurd. So this Chiefs team is playing as if they are the best team in professional football. Their next game is, of course, Monday night here at Arrowhead Stadium against the Washington Commanders. And going into the year, right, had a little bit of fear about this football game, especially after that 0-2 start where you're like, oh my God, really? 0-2 start and you're staring down the barrel of matchups against the Lions. You had it just felt like when you're sitting there at 0-2 for the Kansas City Chiefs and you're like, they've got the Ravens week 4, they've got the Lions week 6, they've got the Commanders week 8, the Bills week 9, Broncos week 10. You're like, this doesn't feel great. Well, the Commanders are not last year's Commanders. They are in a difficult spot at the moment. Let's just say that. They've got injuries, what feels like everywhere right now. I mean, they've already been without several of their top wide receiver targets, right? Obviously, in the form of guys like Deebo Samuel, who's been out for quite a while, and Terry McLaurin, who they haven't seen in a minute. Dan Quinn said today that they are hoping that he will practice this week, that Terry McLaurin will practice this week, but that doesn't necessarily lend itself a strong thought that he will play on Monday night. Deebo Samuel is still questionable, but he might be able to go Monday night. Dan Quinn did say yesterday that Jaden Daniels' hamstring injury isn't considered significant. It won't be a long-term issue, but there is a lot of uncertainty surrounding his availability Monday night against Kansas City. Noah Brown, they put him on IR last week. He was their wide receiver 3. So regardless, even if they get Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel back, they are going to be without their RB3 or wide receiver 3 in the form of Noah Brown. Obviously, other injuries, including like Austin Eckler, who went down a while ago. You know, they put him on IR with the Achilles injury. But it's gone from kind of bad to worse, right? Dietrich Weiss, they put him on IR a month ago. At the beginning of this month, they put Javonte Jean-Baptiste on the IR. They put Drake Jackson on the IR last week. They put Dorrance Armstrong on IR yesterday. Shout out to KU Jayhawk fans everywhere. He is out for the remainder of the season with, I believe it's an ACL tear. This team is dealing with a lot of injuries, and they all just so happen to be occurring mostly along their defensive line and in the wide receiver room. Not ideal in that situation. You know, if it's not Jaden Daniels, it'll be Marcus Mariota, more than likely. He'll be the starter. You know, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's had a pretty decent year. They've got a guy in Zach Ertz who, when he left Philly, I like many people thought that his career was done, but he has really revitalized himself.
Didn't he stop in Arizona, I want to say, in between those two?
Correct.
I mean, like, it felt very end of his career, Kelvin Benjamin bounce around to a few teams before UP. I'm not trying to equate the two. Zach Ertz is one of the better tight ends in history. But it felt like that. It felt like, hey, he's going to string along for another year or two, maybe some practice squads, and he's on his way out, and he's revitalized this thing.
There have been a couple points where you're like, okay, this might be the beginning of the end for Zach Ertz. You know, like his last 2 years in Philadelphia, he had 36 catches in 11 games, and then he had 18 catches in 6 games in 2021, and that was a mixture of injury plus the emergence of Dallas Goedert. So you thought, oh, it might be the beginning of the end for Zach Ertz. And then he goes to Arizona, and 56 catches in his first year there after he got traded by Philly. He then came back for the 2022 season, had 47 catches in 10 games, and then he had 27 catches in 7 games with Arizona in 2023. And you're thinking, all right, it's the beginning of the end again, I guess, for Zach Ertz. And then he goes to Washington last year, and he's a Pro Bowler. 66 catches, 654 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And already this year, he's got 23 catches and 4 receiving touchdowns in 7 games. So he's still a really solid player. And the Commanders do have a solid offensive line led by starting left tackle Laramie Tunsil. They've got Tyler Biadasz, former Dallas Cowboy at center, Josh Connerly, the rookie out of Oregon at right tackle. But their defensive line, especially those edge rushers, there's not a lot of depth there, right? They've got Jalen Holmes and Preston Smith, but every other D end on their roster seemingly is banged up right now. They've got, Darren Payne is one of the better interior defensive linemen. They've got a really, really interesting linebacker core, right? Frankie Louvu, and then Bobby Wagner and Von Miller. If it was 2016, I'd be shaking in my boots right now. And then their defensive backfield has stayed relatively healthy, right? That foursome of Jeremy Reeves, Quan Martin, Marshawn Lattimore, and Mike Sanristil. I'm not sure how you pronounce that last name, to be honest with you.
Younger guy. Yeah. And real quick on the Zach Ertz thing, I wanted to look this up before I said it, but those down years he had in Philadelphia did coincide with the Carson Wentz fall off and pre-Jalen Hurts breakout. That team
that's sort of in
was not
between
throwing
years.
the ball to anybody for a few years there until the 2022 season. So it was the injury history and then the trajectory after Philadelphia where I certainly thought Zach Ertz was cooked. He's playing well, but the theme that I've noticed is like every week we get on here and we say, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. It was the case with the Raiders this last week, missing multiple of their offensive weapons and Colton Miller.
Yeah.
The Lions in the secondary, the Ravens, and all the guys that team was missing. Seems like the luck is sort of luck, if you want to call it, but the pendulum has swung back from last season where the Chiefs were the team that was banged up, bounces not going their way when it comes to injury designations. And so, Debo, McLaurin, Jaden Daniels all banged up. Could be spicy if Daniels goes. Could be another one of these, runaways if not.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Be nice to be 5-3, have a nice, easy win. I don't want to call it a tune-up game. I definitely not when we're talking about the NFL or the Kansas City Chiefs. I was so confident in that Jaguars game, And that came back to bite me.
Things aren't this simple.
If you can get a 3-score win here, right? Similar situation where your starters are kind of resting in the fourth quarter. They don't have a full game load on them before you have to go to Orchard Park and play the Bills next week. It's an ideal situation if you're the Chiefs because they're a team right now that's getting a little bit banged up right now.
Yeah, well, I was gonna agree with your point about this being the NFL. Nothing's a tune-up game. Nothing's a trap game. Nothing's an easy game. I know the quarterback situation might be different, but if it's not, this team beat the Chargers. The Chargers beat you. Again, I know things aren't that simple, but like this team can beat you. They went to the NFC Championship game last year. A lot of folks picked them to win the division again this year. Yeah, and a relatively stress-free win against them would just feel great because going into Orchard Park, sitting at 5-3 compared to where you were a month ago, and knowing you have the bye after that, knowing the Bills have sort of struggled offensively lately, that game feels like a whole lot more of just play loose and play free, and you got to like their chances in that one as well. So,
no question.
It would be great to be going into that one 5-3. Don't wish bad injury luck on anybody, but sure, if it's Mariota on Monday night, I'd have to be all over the Chiefs in a similar fashion to where I was last week.
As of right now, the injury report for the Kansas City Chiefs includes, of course, Omar Norman Lott, who was diagnosed with an ACL tear yesterday. They officially put him on IR. His season is done. Josh Simmons is currently listed as questionable with that personal issue that's going on. We still have absolutely no information on that. We'll just leave that as it lies. Jawan Taylor and Trey Smith are both currently listed as questionable right now. Trey Smith had the back issue against the Raiders. He got ruled out of that game. By that point, it was pretty well in hand. They didn't feel it necessary to try to force him back in that one. And then Jawan Taylor dealing with a shoulder thing. We saw him a couple of times during Sunday's game against the Raiders, kind of getting that shoulder worked on at different times. Couldn't tell if it was a shoulder or a neck thing, but he was taken out of that game against the Raiders, labeled as questionable to return. We'll see how that plays itself out moving forward. We'll probably hear something from Andy tomorrow or Thursday regarding the injury report as practice gets underway before Monday's game against the Commanders. 913-586-7965 is our number. We've got a lot of messages in the text line. I kind of want to take a look at those on the other side of the break here. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you alongside my producer, Nathan Williams. Sticking around till 9 o'clock tonight here on 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Airman here for Midwest Heating. Now, we like to approach life in a lighthearted manner, but with the projected rise in natural gas prices, this winter's heating bills may be no joking matter. Many old furnaces have efficiency ratings as low as 60%, which means you're literally burning money. So think about this. Midwest Heating has a variety of high-efficiency Lennox systems that can heat your home, drastically improve your air quality, and boost that efficiency as high as 99%. Saving that kind of money each month will be a nice help for the other bills in your life. Even better, Midwest offers up to $1,800 in rebates on qualifying Lennox home comfort systems and up to 60-month 0% financing with approved credit. Dial 943-8787 or go to MidwestHeating.com for complete details. Now, for 7 decades, it's the same story. Trust your air to the best. Midwest. Midwest Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
It's NBA tip-off week, and FanDuel's your home for live betting. So even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to those fourth-quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now's the perfect time to join because FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's when you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
Straight Talk knows the best holiday gift is simply saying yes.
Yes, you can stay up late. Sure, more cookies. Of course we can watch that movie again.
That's why we give you real unlimited data, so you can say yes to all of your family's streaming, scrolling, and sharing. And now at Straight Talk, get another gift worth giving, a free 5G phone with select plans. Because yes is the best gift to give.
Yes!
And receive. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Fast cars, barbecue, and live music. Bring the family for Burnouts, a car show, Kids Zone, and Chris Jansen live Saturday night. It's Boost and Barbecue next Friday, October 24th and Saturday, October 25th at Flying H Drag Strip, Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free. Online at boostandbbq.com.
Gotten a lot of messages in the text line already in the show. Quite a few of them have to do with possible trade targets for the Kansas City Chiefs. Some of them I find kind of interesting. Somebody pointed out, anyone can be traded. Heck, Max Crosby might be headed to the Cowboys. I can't say I've heard that. Is that a thing?
It would be such a justice to Max Crosby to release him from that organization. I mean, not really, because he took the money and stayed, and I get it, but you just watch the Raiders and you see him, well, not this last Sunday for most of the game, but in general, and you're like, it's like that meme of the Ferrari parked under the makeshift shed. I mean, it's sad to watch.
You're right, and I agree. A talent like Max Crosby deserves to be with an organization that's competitive and going to be competitive. But I was going to go exactly where you ended up going next. It's you had that opportunity, my guy. You decided to take the massive bag that the Raiders were offering you. So I'm not going to shed tears for you when you complain about your team's lack of competitiveness, a la Myles Garrett. Nobody wants to hear you complaining post-game about how bad the offense is, Myles. You knew it. We knew it. You still took the massive guaranteed money deal. I can't blame you for that, but you also reap what you sow a little bit in that situation. So I agree. Anybody in this league can be traded. Somebody says they're looking at guys like Malik Collins or Shelby Harris from the Browns, maybe even Isaiah McGuire. Malik Collins is an interesting one. I look at this Chiefs team, and I know that the hot pick is for edge rushing help, right? When you think about the pass rush, you think about edge rushers. Well, the Chiefs' depth issue at defensive end, well, I believe there is one, is not the same as their depth issues on their defensive line, especially now that Omar Norman Lott is gone. You need interior defensive line help. Now, you could argue that maybe you can move some of those guys inside, right? But is George Karlaftis going to be as effective a player if he's playing defensive tackle instead of defensive end? I don't think so. So, yes, you could move guys inside and outside and in these sort of like NASCAR kind of packages, but on a 1st and 10 play, I would much rather see George Karlaftis or Charles Omenihu or Ashton Gelati lined up in a 3 technique at a defensive end position than lined up on the interior next to Chris Jones trying to stop a 2nd and 9 run play against the Bills next week. So I look more towards defensive tackle help than defensive end. But I guess you never know, right? Somebody Carl Granderson from the Saints. Again, another name that I do not mind the discussion around it. He's having a really good year. I think he's got 4.5 sacks already this year in 7 games, and had 8.5 sacks a couple of years ago. Back in 2023. He's in the midst of a 3-year deal, but he has an opt-out after this season. After that, it gets a little bit expensive. The Chiefs are, the Chiefs will be looking at like an $18 million cap hit for him if they decided to hold on to his contract in 2026, 2027. Ugh. Keep it simple. Go get Calais Campbell. I think that would be a fantastic fit. He is an older player, no question about it, but still an incredibly effective player. Even at age, 35? No, he's not even, 35's young. He's 38, 39 at this point? Yeah, he's 39 years old. This man's been around a minute, but he's got 3 sacks this season in 7 games, 5 tackles for loss for the Arizona Cardinals. He's played and started in all 7 games. That's a defensive tackle that you could pair with Chris Jones. That would be kind of fun. I personally could get into that. Jalen Phillips, Cam Jordan. Again, I understand the pull, I understand the appeal, but those guys are edge rushers. I think that this team needs more in the way of defensive tackle help. And I'm not sure. Calais Campbell is one that gets me kind of excited. And he's a cheap option. He's on a $5 million, $5.5, $6 million deal with the Cardinals this year. And most of that has already been paid out, right? His signing bonus was $2 million. His incentives are right around $500,000 if they hit. So you're going to get Calais Campbell for probably less than $2 million over the course of the season. So doesn't break the bank. 1-year rental sort of a thing. He's somebody who could certainly be looking to close out his career in a way that would put him out on top. And going to an organization like the Kansas City Chiefs makes a lot of sense, because it's, as of right now, it's like the one thing he's missing. I mean, Calais Campbell has been in the NFL since 2008. He has been a 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. He was on the 2010s All-Decade team, Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's done everything. He's never won a Super Bowl. That would be fun.
I will say, as the text line's full of edge rushers, names and teams and cap numbers, and they all sound great. I would love an upgrade at the edge position. I tend to agree with you, Logan. That second defensive tackle spot is a much more dire need. I mean, their running mate, Chris Jones, is openly saying to the media, like, hey, we need, and I know he's friends with Mike Pennell. He's not criticizing the guys that are currently there, but he has said, hey, you should bring this guy in to play alongside me. It's no secret that that PFF grade went up on Sunday Night Football and said Mr. Noddy's 119th out of 119th.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. So I think that's the position to be targeted. Not that I wouldn't love an upgrade on the outside. They've lined Leo Chenal up there at points. I mean, it's not pretty.
It's not. I mean, somebody in 918 in the text line pointed out Andy Reid likes familiarity with the system, so maybe Mike Pennell or Kalen Saunders coming back. I don't think that doesn't provide anything. First of all, the Bengals aren't going to trade Mike Pennell to you. I really do not believe that they would do that. They're a football team that has some hope right now. They're 3-4. They're in a poor division right now. They're just trying to tread water until they can get Joe Burrow back and then make a run. I don't think that they would just willfully give up Mike Pennell and send him back to a team in the Kansas City Chiefs, who they have developed quite the rivalry with. Kalen Saunders it would be a fun addition, but I'm not sure he moves the bottom line for you all that much. He hasn't played for this. I think he's played in 1 game this year, and I think it was the first game of the year against the Panthers, and he hasn't really played since. And even when he has been playing I think he had 3 sacks like all of last year. So, Yeah,
Plus
I
a 40-yard
understand.
interception return
True.
here in Kansas City. No, the Bengals, they're not selling. That's a team that believes they're in it. Whether you do or not, they do. They think that 9 or 10 wins them that division. So they are in mode get and stay at 500 until Burrow gets back. No one's leaving, let alone to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Colin Saunders for the vibes. That fun story. It's not moving the needle for me either.
No, it would be a vibes thing, right? It would just be like another guy in the room. And you're right, that's kind of what Andy and this Chiefs team has done, right? Bringing back Noddy this year and McCole Hardman and Juju and, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's kind of what they do. Somebody says Miami will sell soon. Check on Bradley Chubb. Love the idea of the talent of Bradley Chubb, but I will say there's no way that happens. He has a cap hit of $31 million next year and in 2027. No opt-out.
Isn't Bradley Chubb one of those additions to the AFC West a few off seasons ago that everybody was freaking out about? Wasn't that when the Broncos picked him up? I could be wrong.
I thought he was drafted by the Broncos. Wasn't he?
Was he?
Or was he drafted?
Was he re-signed? They brought some. I might be thinking about Randy Gregory. Never mind. But
Yeah.
I just remember him in that ilk. Yeah, no, that's a guy that you are not equipped to take on.
No, he was drafted. Yeah, he was drafted by the Broncos in 2018. Had 12 sacks. He was third for Defensive Rookie of the Year that year. Made a Pro Bowl with the Broncos in 2020. He had 8 sacks in 2022. He was named to the Pro Bowl after he got traded from Denver to Miami. He had 11 sacks last year. He's already got 4 this year, coming back off of a torn ACL. But like I said, he's got a cap hit of $12 million this year, 31 next year, and $31 million again in 2027. His dead cap, if you were to cut him this offseason, would still be $23 million.
Yeah, and the team paid George Karlaftis. That's their second contract on the D-line. There's not another one happening. So get ready for a running back in the first couple of rounds, or it's not a running back, a pass rusher in the first couple rounds of the draft next April. That's where your next big addition to the edge room's coming.
From what I see, Calais Campbell seems to be the one that makes the most sense. And for a Cardinals team that's not really playing for much right now, I think he's somebody at age 39, his career is probably up when this season concludes, unless he wants to come back for an age 40 season. And the Chiefs might be able to work something out there and get him back on another 1-year deal for next year, if that's what you want to do. Pair Chris Jones with a defensive tackle talent next to him that he's never had before in his career and see where it takes you. 913-586-7965 is our number. After Hours, Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, Chiefs fans, Crown Royal is the official whiskey of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this season, it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/Royal Rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
Engines rumble, tires smoke, and the barbecue's fired up with Boost and Barbecue. This Friday and Saturday at Flying H Drag Strip in Odessa. See the fastest streetcars in the world battle it out on the strip, plus burnouts. A huge barbecue competition, car show, and kids zone. Kids 12 and under get in free. Then Saturday night, country star Chris Jansen takes the stage live. It's 2 full days of racing, music, and mouth-watering fun you won't want to miss. Get your tickets now at boostandbarbecue.com.
Things are getting spooky in South Kansas City, but the deals at Rob Side Ford, they're scary good. Rob Side is with me. Hey, Rob, what's haunting the lot this month?
No tricks, just treats. From Broncos to Explorers to F-150s and commercial vehicles, we've got the inventory, the selection, and the lowest prices in Kansas City.
And no creepy sales tactics, just non-commissioned staff and real value.
Exactly. And while we're on the scary stuff, Kevin, your brisket from last weekend still haunts me.
Okay, dry rub shouldn't actually mean dry.
But here's the real flavor. KC's only top-rated Ford dealer on Google, 4.8 stars with nearly 3,000 reviews. Voted best car dealership in KC by Kansas City Magazine.
If you want simple, upfront, and easy, Rob Sight Ford is the treat you've been looking for. Visit 135th and State Line and buy right with Rob Sight.
Rob Sight Ford, ROBSIGHT.com. And Kevin, leave the cooking to us this Halloween.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
After hours here on 96.5 The Fan. Somebody brought this up, and I'll talk briefly about it before we hit the top of the hour. It says, Logan, can we discuss Pro Football Focus? Geno better than Patty. Funny how they have a thing called a turnover-worthy play. It's not a play where they actually turn the ball over. It's just a turnover-worthy play. So that means that car insurance company can charge us for accident-worthy incidents. We don't have when we don't have an accident, but we almost did, so they can charge us more money. Yeah, Pro Football Focus is a dumpster fire, right? It was Nick Wright today, right? Who said something about the Pro Football Focus system.
It was. I mean, I can pull it up here. It's a little bit of a long clip. Maybe we can get into it at the top of the hour or so. It's about a minute-long clip here. Yeah, the system's broken. And newsflash, if you think insurance companies aren't already doing that, you hear those ads about, like, putting the good driver little things in your car to see how fast you're going. Yeah, they are certainly charging you more based on your likeliness to get in a wreck, 100%. God, yeah. Folks, look, we can equate PFF to insurance all day long. I'm here for that. But yeah, if you're watching that game on Sunday, you can either argue that Geno Smith was miles worse than Patrick Mahomes, which is where I'm at, or you could say he was the most unlucky player to literally ever play the game to get shut out 31-0, despite a good quarterback performance. And, like, that just wasn't the case. No. That's not what my eyeballs saw.
No. Anybody with a working cerebellum knows that Patrick Mahomes had a much better day throwing the football than Geno Smith did, except for apparently the people who put together the math at Pro Football Focus.
Well, look, insert Twitter user snarky comment about Chris Collinsworth and his eyes here. Like, you need, I don't even think you need to know anything about the NFL. I think you just need your eyesight to understand, or if you don't have that, maybe a glance over at the box score, which you can obtain even if you don't if you didn't watch the game or can't see the game or whatever it is. So, it doesn't make any sense to me.
None. And I had my meltdown about it yesterday, but I can definitely melt down about it again. We'll certainly do that. We may do that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. What I also want to do in the 7 o'clock hour, I want to talk about the NBA. You know, I'm giving you plentiful warning. If you don't want to hear about the NBA, I understand. Go find something else to do for a couple of minutes. Come on back. But I want to talk about the National Basketball Association because the 2025-26 season is officially underway. The Rockets and the Thunder tipped off about 25 minutes ago. And I want to talk about it because I think it's going to be an incredible NBA season, and I can't wait to get down into the nitty-gritty of it. We'll discuss that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a little more.
I'm worth a lot more.
I completely agree. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and we want to pay more at GiveMeTheVin.com for good cars, because they are worth more, and so are you. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to Missouri. On December 1st, you'll finally be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports. With FanDuel, there's a ton of ways for you to get in on the action. You can bet everything from the money line to over-unders to which team will win it all. You'll be able to build parlays, bet player props, or even ride the live line. Whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. Plus, with live betting, you can pick which player will score the next touchdown or the touchdown after that. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back. On December 1st, you'll be able to see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, there's a ton of ways for you to get in on the action. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Danon Hughes here. I've seen a lot of stat lines in my playing days, but these numbers, they caught my attention. Flight by Yingling, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, and all the crisp, refreshing flavor you want in a light beer. It's brewed by the oldest brewery in America, so you know it's got some serious history behind it. If you're into stats and taste, you're going to love this beer. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer and the official beer of Danon Hughes. D.G. Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. We have the holidays coming up, good comfort food aplenty. With that in mind, we are running a garbage disposal special of $100 off. We only install incinerators. A good working disposal is key to avoiding drain backups, and no one needs surprises these days. So call 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These Vapo-Cool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks Vapo-Cool drops. Use as directed.
Listen to K-State and KU Saturdays starting at 9 right here on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
You know, there's something about the subject of Pro Football Focus that really kind of pulls me in two different directions. Because, number one, I'm a numbers guy. I really do. I'm not like a full-blown money ball where like I only look at the numbers, right? I'm the sort of person that watches the game and then looks at the numbers and sees, you know, are the numbers lying to me? Are my eyes lying to me? They're both useful tools in determining what the overall bigger picture of a game or a season can be for a team or for an individual player. Pro Football Focus, generally speaking, for a lot of other positions and criteria on the football field, actually does a pretty good job. You know, I've watched the games. I've looked at the numbers. I can tell you definitively, Derek Nottie is not undeserving of being 119th out of 119 defensive tackles in the National Football League. That is not an arbitrary, undeserved moniker for Derek Nottie. But there is something catastrophically wrong at the base level when it comes to the PFF grading of quarterbacks in the National Football League. Nick Wright agrees with me. He's been talking about this at length, and he actually did speak on this with the media or on What's Right, his podcast earlier today.
Pro Football Focus's quarterback rating system said on Sunday, Geno Smith played a better game than Patrick Mahomes.
Needs to be tweaked.
They published that. They put that out to the world. They said from a passing perspective, on Sunday, Geno was the 12th best quarterback in the league with a 67 grade, and Patrick Mahomes was the 16th best on Sunday with a 62 grade. It is that single fact means the way you're doing it is broken. There is no way to massage it or work around to where if in that game, you spit out the answer that actually, when you really look with a discerning eye, Geno threw the ball better than Patrick, it means your system's broken.
Definitely does. I mean, I saw this tweet yesterday, and we talked about it during the show last night. So Patrick Mahomes graded out last week as he had the 18th best grade among quarterbacks in the NFL last week. 18th. And this was before the Monday night games with the Bucs and the Lions and the Texans and the Seahawks. So this was before those two games occurred with those four teams. Mahomes was 18th with a grade of 62.2. Jaden Daniels had a grade of 63.5. So he had a grade a point higher than Mahomes did. Jaden Daniels, look at the numbers, did not have a better day than Patrick Mahomes did. Not even close. Caleb Williams had a grade of 63.8. Did not have a better day than Mahomes did. Bo Nix had a better day, apparently, according to Pro Football Focus. 66.7. And then Geno Smith at 67.2. 5 points higher than Mahomes. And it's not in the clip there, but you can go find it on social media. You can hear Nick talking about it. He mentions the QBR rating that NFL came out with a few years ago. And when it first came out, it was broken, right? I mean, it had like some random quarterback who threw for like 160 yards in a game as having the best QBR of any quarterback in a single game in league history. But they've tweaked that, right? They recognized their mistake, their fatal flaw in their algorithm, and they fixed it. So just looking at the QBR grades from Sunday's game, Geno Smith, 5 points higher in terms of Pro Football Focus's grading. He had a QBR on Sunday of 7.7. Mind you, this is on a scale from 0 to 100. He had a 7.7. Mahomes, 89.6. Mahomes, 26 completions, Geno 10. Mahomes, 35 attempts, Geno 16. 286 yards to 67 yards, 8.2 yards per attempt to 4.2 yards per attempt. No touchdowns for Geno, no picks either. Mahomes, 3 touchdowns, no picks. They were each sacked 1 time in this football game. Mahomes had a higher QBR by 82 points. He had a higher quarterback rating by 55 points. And yet Pro Football Focus said Geno Smith was the better quarterback. And the only thing I can think of as to why the Pro Football Focus grading system is so bad right now, it's got to be these turnover-worthy plays that they're looking at. It almost has to be. Because admittedly, Mahomes had a couple, right? He had the one that I can think of vividly, which was that pass across the middle to Juju. They got tipped in the air, should have been picked off, and it wasn't. And it landed just softly into the hands of Juju Smith-Schuster for a 20-plus yard gain. He had that late throw back across the middle after the penalty to Xavier Worthy. That may have constituted a turnover-worthy play by PFF, despite the fact that there was a penalty and the play would have been negated anyway. That's the only thing I can think of for how in any planet, well, in any multiverse, Geno Smith could have justifiably been graded as having a better day than Mahomes.
I think social media is to blame for the creation of PFF and these grades and how much they are used in broadcasts and on talk shows such as this one. I wish that the public would look at it to take context from it, to maybe sometimes support a belief, but we use it as an end-all be-all. And so you get on social media and a Bills fan says, yeah, see, I told you Mahomes is luckier than anybody else. Look at these turnover-worthy play. What about how can you define a turnover-worthy play? Like you mentioned on the Xavier Worthy one, he after the game says, I knew that was a flag, so I took a risk and let him make a play. The one to Juju should have been intercepted. What about throws to Travis Kelce in the end zone earlier that should have been caught, but were actually a turnover? It's not a turnover-worthy play. Mahomes did his job on that one. How many did we see bounce off of Tyreek Hill's hands into a defender in Tyreek Hill's last year or two here in Kansas City? How many 50-50 balls does Mahomes throw up on 3rd and 18 from their side of the field, knowing that, okay, if the defense intercepts it, it's an arm punt, but I'm going to give my guy a chance to convert. He does that 2 or 3 times this season as well. So you can't define a turnover-worthy play. You just can't do it. So, look, I like to use PFF, get on there and say, look, I'm wondering about the guard play. I'm wondering how Kingsley is doing. Let me look at how relative to other players and sort of get a read for things like pass protection or maybe pass rush win rate on the defensive line side. Things that can't be quantified as easy when you say, hey, the team won. When the team wins, you think, hey, the quarterback did enough to win the game for the team. When a receiver scores a touchdown and has 80 yards, you think, oh, he did enough to help his team win the game today. I like using PFF for positions that don't have counting stats. It can add context in those situations. But I think we're doing it to ourselves when it comes to all this other data. And I'm with you on the turnover-worthy play being the biggest crock of you-know-what since I don't know what.
Yeah, it feels to me like Pro Football Focus just truly doesn't. This is better for Pro Football Focus than if they were accurately grading every position.
Oh, in terms of popularity and viewership?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the number of people who are going to the Pro Football Focus site on a daily basis to rag on their grading system rather than praise it is astronomical, right? I mean, that's unfortunately what the business has become, right? We know it. That's what's happening in our business everywhere, is people understand that hate elicits a more visceral response than love does in a lot of respects, right? Guys like Stephen A. Smith and Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless don't get paid what they get paid because everybody loves them. It's actually because a lot of people don't like them. You are going to tune in because you love somebody or because you hate somebody. And frankly, a lot more people will tune in because they hate you than because they love you.
Yeah, I agree. I just think the difference is PFF didn't create that situation for themselves. I think we as a viewer gave that to them. And now they're running with it. Yes, they are absolutely aware of what the deficiencies are, and it helps them. I just think you can find anything from PFF that helps your argument on either side of the aisle. If you're bitter about the refs, you can find something that says, hey, this team benefited from the refs. If you think the quarterback got lucky on a pass that should have been intercepted, you could find something at some point. I saw a tweet today about air yards on Mahomes' touchdown passes and how I know he has the pop pass here or there, but people are upset because Josh Allen's touchdown passes travel farther through the air than Patrick Mahomes' touchdown passes were. Okay, so now we're penalizing the Chiefs for having 40 minutes time of possession the other day and having these long extended drives. Don't you think that's by design? Don't you think Mahomes is executing the assignment there and should be raising his PFF grade? You got to look at it for what it is, and some of them are BS, and turnover-worthy plays is at the top of the list.
No question. I mean, if you look at the QBR ratings in the NFL this year for the season, Dak Prescott actually tops the list on ESPN. He's got an 81.2 QBR. 16 touchdowns to 3 picks. He's been sacked 8 times. He's got 1,800 yards passing so far this season. Daniel Jones is sitting at number 2, 80.2.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Still bonkers.
10 touchdowns to 3 picks. He's thrown for nearly 1,800 yards, 1,790 to be exact. And both of those guys are completing at least 71% of their passes. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. 14 touchdowns to 2 picks. He's got 1,800 yards through the air. He's got another 250 yards on the ground. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns. Only 2 picks this year. He's been sacked just 11 times. But yet Pro Football Focus actually has Sam Darnold at the top of their list for grades this season. And I'm not saying that Sam Darnold's had a bad year. Right, he's got a total QBR of 12. He's got a total QBR of 72.5. He's got 12 touchdowns passing this year to 4 interceptions, which is more than Dak, Daniel Jones, or Patrick Mahomes that I just mentioned. He's got 12 passing touchdowns, which is less than Mahomes and Dak Prescott. He's completing a pretty good 68% of his passes, which is more than Mahomes, but less than Dak and Daniel Jones. And yet, he's got the highest Pro Football Focus grade of any quarterback in professional football this year.
Yeah, Geno did not have a game that it's like you look at those things that you mentioned quarterback rating is based on and say, okay, well, he had a good game from the standpoint X, from completion percentage standpoint, or from EPA standpoint, or yards per attempt standpoint. You don't have he didn't score 67 yards through the air and 62% completion. Like, none of that screams, hey, there might have been a sneaky thing here, a la Sam Darnold, who's having a fine season, maybe not a Dak Prescott season or a Daniel Jones season, which, by the way, I can't believe how that felt coming off the tongue. Sam Darnold, you can look at him and say, okay, well, he's doing things X, Y, and Z well. Nothing about Geno Smith's performance the other day suggests that whatsoever. There is not a world in which you can stretch to make me believe that Geno Smith executed a single thing properly on Sunday. Not one.
Not one. Mahomes had the 7th most passing yards of any quarterback in pro football this week. His 3 passing touchdowns were tied with a handful of other guys for the 3rd most passing touchdowns by a quarterback this week. The only guys with more were Aaron Rodgers with his 4 for Pittsburgh and that 5 touchdown day that Stafford had. His quarterback rating on Sunday was a 126.6, which was the 4th best in the league in Week 7, behind only Dak Prescott, Drake May, and Jalen Hurts. Yet Geno Smith had a better day, according to Pro Football Focus. Okay. 913-586-7965 is our number. We're done talking about Pro Football Focus. We're getting ready to talk about a different three-letter acronym, and that is the NBA. Yes, I want to talk basketball. The season's underway. Rockets and Thunder playing right now. The second quarter just got started. I'm excited for the NBA. I am a basketball guy. I know there's not a lot of appetite for it in the Metro, but this is for me, all right? This next couple of segments is just for me. I want to talk about the NBA. We'll do that next. Logan Weber alongside Nathan Williams. You're listening to After Hours on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Every day, people in pain are taking control of their health and looking beyond traditional medicine. And that's exactly why QC Kinetics is helping so many people right now. If you're dealing with chronic joint pain, listen up. There are real options beyond steroids, surgeries, and meds. At QC Kinetics, patients are getting lasting relief using cutting-edge regenerative treatments that work at the cellular level. We're talking about revitalizing your joints using growth factors from your own body. It's simple. There's no hospital stays, no surgery, and no downtime. So if your knees, back, or shoulders hurt all the time, don't settle. Be smart. Don't let anyone tell you that surgery is your only choice. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and exercise your freedom to look beyond the same old solutions. Thousands of people across the country are already living better thanks to QC Kinetics. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Saturday appointments available off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CODE to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Every Kansas City neighborhood has its own buyer preferences and price points. Dawn Sharp at the Sharp Homes team's deep understanding of various neighborhoods means they know exactly what buyers in your specific market are looking for and willing to pay. And then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. Do you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold? Contact them to discuss their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Google them, Sharp Homes team, and start packing.
96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. Wake up with Fesco and Dusty from 6 to 10. Hang out with Cody and Gold from 10 until 2. And on your way home, tune in for The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Can't listen in the car? Listen live or on demand with the Odyssey app. And watch all the shows on YouTube or your favorite social media platforms. Your home for Chiefs football. Your home for Royals baseball. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Basketball's back, baby. It's not college basketball yet. We got to wait about 2 weeks for that. November 3rd, 2 weeks from yesterday, actually, is when the college basketball regular season begins. But we got the NBA tip-off game going on as we speak. Rockets and Thunder, two teams that are trending up. I mean, obviously the Thunder are fresh off of hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy for the first time in franchise history. And they look to be a team. I mean, they won 68 games last year. And they look like they could be even better this year, which is terrifying to think, right? It may all get torn down here in the next couple of years, but if the Thunder can keep Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein healthy, which they couldn't last year, I think those guys missed like 75 games between the two of them. If those two guys can stay healthy and play in 120 plus games, between the two of them, I should say, right? They're going to be exceptional. I mean, right now, they're down by 2. Shea has 3 points. It's the reigning MVP in the NBA. But Chet Holmgren has 16 points in the first half.
He looks unguardable watching this game. I mean, and it's always been this way when healthy, like you provided for before. So, this has been an interesting start. Obviously, you can go to social media and see the crowd booing Kevin Durant and him booing him right back, and the Thunder getting their rings. And this one has all the drama you could want, Logan, of an opening night.
It's phenomenal, dude. And they're doing it right now. I mean, they're having to play without Jalen Williams, who is one of the best players on their team. He is an all-star caliber player, right? He averaged 21 points a game last year. He was the obvious Robin to SGA's Batman, and he's not playing in this game. He's dealing with a wrist injury, and so the Thunder are playing a little bit shorthanded right now already to begin this year, but they've got a ridiculous amount of depth on this basketball team. I mean, when you've got guards like Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace coming off the bench with regularity, guys who can give you 10 to 20 on a given night, and then you pair that with Jalen Williams when he gets back healthy, and Chet and SGA and Hartenstein, Lou Dort, who is one of the best two-way players in the National Basketball Association, one of the best 3-and-D guys to be certain, a 39 game. And then the Rockets, this is a team that is, first of all, massive. Dude, Amen Thompson is their starting point guard at 6'7". Kevin Durant is playing shooting guard at 6'11". Jabari Smith is 6'11", playing small forward. They've got Alperen Sengun, who is at 6'11", playing power forward, and then Steven Adams as their center. They are horrendously long on the basketball floor.
Yeah, we just wax poetic about the Thunder, but this is the team I had coming out of the West this season. It's sexy. It is something. How tall is their point guard, did you say?
Yeah, Amen Thompson is 6'7".
Okay.
6'7".
Yeah, no, it's...
I hate that I did that.
It's not even like abnormal anymore to talk about this length on the. It's just gotten so much. It's so different than when I watched it. When you saw a guy that size, he had one trait, and that was like paint presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Back to the basket, rebound, and rim run.
And there's a dude that plays right down where these two teams play, in the southern central part of this country, who's 7'5" and shoots the ball at an incredibly high rate. Like, it's just changed so much over the last few decades.
It's wild, and I don't mind your Rockets pick. I really don't. The only thing that I'm skeptical about with Houston is the lack of depth.
Yeah.
When your bench is a potential really solid player in Reed Shepherd, right? A guy you took 3rd overall last year. He definitely has the potential there in front of him. Tari Eason is an interesting guy, guy who averaged 12 and 6 a season ago. But then it's Josh Okogie, who has kind of bounced around the league after being a mid-second round pick. Clint Capella at age 31, who is definitely a rebounder. He's definitely your generic back to the basket, rim running, rim protecting sort of a big. But that's kind of all you got in terms of bench depth. They're 9 deep right now, and then it's Jeff Green, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jayshawn Tate, Aaron Holiday, Kayvon Harris, and J.D. Davison. So for the Rockets, if your top 8 or 9 guys can stay healthy over the grind of an 82-game season, fine. And frankly, when it comes to guys like Jabari Smith and Alperen Şengün and Amin Thompson, I don't know if there's a bunch of concern for that, but Steven Adams is a big, brawling kind of a center who has dealt with injury issues already in his career, and we know Kevin Durant has dealt with them over the past few seasons, from the Achilles to the constant wear and tear on the ankles during his time in Phoenix. I think that it's fair to show some level of concern regarding the Rockets' ability to stay healthy. You then look at the other game going on tonight, and it will tip off right about as our show is ending at 9 o'clock, the Warriors and the Lakers. A game that is kind of interesting, right? The Lakers are going to be without LeBron James to begin the season, but they still have Luka Doncic. The Warriors will not have Moses Moody or DeAnthony Melton tonight. But these two teams stand a chance to be competitive in the Western Conference. I would not go so far as to say either one of these teams can win the Western Conference. The Warriors have talent, man, no question about it. With Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry at the top of the heap, you brought in Al Horford, who even at age 39 can give you something as a small ball sort of a center. Trace Jackson Davis has kind of found his niche. Hopefully Jonathan Kuminga can take the next step in his career. I think they're hoping for something similar out of guys like Moses Moody and Braden Pajemski, but I'm not entirely certain of that. Meanwhile, on the flip side, for the Lakers, it starts with LeBron and Luka. No doubt about it. They brought over DeAndre Ayton from the Portland Trailblazers, so for the first time really since LeBron came over, it feels like they have a center. And I know you're going to say Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is a more natural power forward in his career. DeAndre Ayton is a true 5, and his career has been a little bit disappointing after being the number 1 overall pick out of Arizona. So maybe coming to a place like Los Angeles can kind of open something up for him, especially playing with 2 primarily ball-dominant players, but guys that pass the ball with great efficiency, and Luka and LeBron when he finally gets back healthy. I'm waiting on Dalton Connect to kind of take that next step in his career. And then you've, of course, got Austin Reeves. They brought in Marcus Smart to be a really, really difficult guard, I should say perimeter defending guard in this league. And I like the acquisition of Nick Smith, a former Arkansas Razorback who was taken 27th overall a couple of years ago. He quietly put up double digits last year with the Charlotte Hornets. What can he provide this Los Angeles Lakers team as a bench scoring guard? Could be an interesting dynamic. I think that this team has a little bit of juice to it. It's going to be a matter of when they get LeBron back. He's not expected until, they're saying, mid-November at this point. So with the sciatica in his nerves, when do you get LeBron back? Where are you at when that moment comes? Could be very, very interesting. But I want to talk about more than just the 4 teams that we're going to see tonight. I want to talk about the rest of the National Basketball Association, maybe make some predictions and prognostications about the season as a whole coming up next. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber here with you, hosting tonight's program alongside producer Nathan Williams here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Football season's in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. And you can select entries and win money right now, today, in the state of Missouri. And playing on Underdog is easy. Just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get all your entries right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. I love combining selections from multiple games into one entry. So download the Underdog app today, sign up with promo code BOB to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BOB. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 and over and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are, or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle Season! It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited!
See kslottery.com for details.
Smokehouse Barbecue has always been our choice when it comes to barbecue in Kansas City. We love everything about Smokehouse Barbecue. And now Smokehouse has street tacos, their newest menu item. 3 flour tortillas, chopped burnt ends and smoked sausage, plus corn elote and Cajun sour cream and a side. And now, every Tuesday, kids eat for $1.99 with the purchase of an adult entree. So visit Smokehouse Barbecue in Gladstone, Zona Rosa, or Independence, and at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
there's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
it's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Hey, almost Andy Reid here. It's been an honor to give back to the community that's embraced me being almost your head coach. Thanks for letting me be part of your team. Renner Garage Door is a teammate of mine that also values the community that they serve for decades, always giving back and delivering wins with top brands like Geldon, Amar, and Liftmaster. Need a repair or replacement? Get a free estimate today. Forward and back.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R. This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
All right, who are the contenders? Who are the pretenders in the NBA this season? I know. Some of you who may just now be tuning in like, why is he talking about the NBA? Because the season started, and I'm a basketball guy, and I love to talk about it. We already discussed the 4 teams playing tonight, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Rockets, and the Thunder. But there are a lot of other teams in the National Basketball Association who I think stand a very good chance at contending for an NBA Finals championship this year. And 2 of the teams that I look at right now that I don't think, that we haven't discussed yet, I think the Denver Nuggets are going to be really good again this season. And not just because of the obvious, and that is that they have the best player on planet Earth in Nikola Jokic. they did some really interesting things with their roster this year. Trading away Michael Porter Jr. in exchange for Cam Johnson would probably on the surface be leaving people with questions. But Cam Johnson has quietly become a pretty good player in this league. I mean, last year with the Brooklyn Nets, he averaged almost 19 a game on really good splits. He shot 47.5% from the field. He shot 39% from the three-point line and 89% at the free throw line. So he's a guy that could quietly have a 50, 40, 90 kind of a season. On top of the fact that he's a willing and able rebounder and passer, right around 4 rebounds a game last year, up close to 3.5 assists per game last year. Decent enough defender. He's got a ton of length at 6'8". So Nikola Jokic is just surrounded by shooters with this Denver Nuggets team. You think about Jokic as the 5-man, as the primary facilitator in this offense, surrounded by one of the highest volume shooting point guards in the league in Jamal Murray, if Murray can stay healthy. Cameron Johnson now, Christian Brown, who just seems to get better every single year of his career. He just picked up a massive extent. What he got, like $120 million from the Nuggets this week? Lest we forget about Aaron Gordon. Huh? Can we talk about Aaron Gordon for a minute? Can we talk about the former slam dunk champion who shot 43% from the three-point line last season? Come on, dog.
Yeah, there's been a bit of an afterthought, when he was acquired, which is crazy, and then was very, very, very good last season.
He had
Christian Brown, real quick, 125.
125.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy who shot 58% from the floor last year and 40% from the three-point line. Aaron Gordon, 53% from the field last year, 43.6% from the three-point line. And you may be asking about volume. He shot almost 3.5 threes per game at almost 44% clip. Jokic himself is a 42% three-point shooter. This team is loaded for bear with shooters. They brought in some more bench depth, right? They brought Brucey Brown back over to Denver, a guy who was a hero in that NBA Finals run a few years ago. They brought in Tim Hardaway, a guy that if he's out there on the floor and he touches the basketball, just get ready to rebound, right? Tim Hardaway Jr., not a passer in this league at all. But here's a quiet addition that I really, really like for this Denver Nuggets team. They brought in Jonas Valanciunas. Very different sort of a center than Jokic is, right? He's not a high-volume passer, less than 1.5 assists per game in his career, but very, very capable rebounder. Even last year, in 81 games between Washington and Sacramento, he averaged for the season over 10 points per game, close to 8 rebounds a game, about a half a steal, half a block a night. So you brought in a guy that you can legitimately justify giving Jokic breathers at different points because you have a reliable backup center now in Jonas Valanciunas. And then I look at their 2 guards, right? With Russell Westbrook now gone, he's in Sacramento. Enter in Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther, 2 guards that they drafted in the first round back in 2022 and 2023 who have slowly been brought along in this system. Both guys were hovering around double digits last year. I expect more from them this year as guys that can come in that second unit and provide big-time scoring apparatus. I really, really like this Nuggets basketball team a lot. If it's not the Thunder that come out of the West, I believe it'll be the Denver Nuggets. And it may just be a matter of who's a healthier basketball team when we get into the months of April and May when it comes playoff time in the National Basketball Association. My favorite in the East, without question, in my opinion, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I've said that for the last couple of years, but they fall apart every postseason. Right? They are a phenomenal basketball team. They're winning 60, 65, 67 games every single season, it feels like. And then they get to the playoffs, and it falls apart for them, right? This is it. for the Cavaliers. When you talk about an NBA Finals run, this could very well be it for them because Donovan Mitchell's on the last year of his deal. You've already got Darius Garland long-term. You're going to have to figure something out with Evan Mobley. You're going to have to possibly figure something out with Jarrett Allen. The problem with the Cavs has been health, especially come postseason. They've got interesting guys along their bench, right? With Lonzo Ball, they're not playing him a ton, but he's a really, really good backup point guard option, without question. Right? Garland's going to miss the start of the year because of the toe injury. Max Strus is out with a fractured foot. DeAndre Hunter is a guy that you can rely on a lot, especially as a wing defender, but he has to stay healthy. That's been a problem throughout his career. And Donovan Mitchell's been a guy that you've really struggled to stay healthy, especially late into a season once you got to the playoffs. But I look at that group, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, along with that bench with Lonzo Ball and DeAndre Hunter, Max Strus, there's some juice with this Cleveland Cavaliers team in an Eastern Conference that is so wide open right now because of the injuries to Jason Tatum, who will not be playing this year because of the Achilles tear for the Celtics, as well as Tyrese Halliburton, who's out for the year with an Achilles tear for the Indiana Pacers. So those two teams who you would see as the presumptive favorites in the Eastern Conference are without their two engines, the two guys that make those organizations run, opens things up for a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers or the New York Knicks, right? They're the other team I see in the Eastern Conference and has a legitimate shot to make a run with Jalen Brunson being who he is, a superstar, top 5 point guard in this league. Karl Anthony Towns and McCall Bridges and Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. There's some juice there. Again, same problem with the Cavaliers is the same problem with the New York Knicks. Can they stay healthy? Because the problem with the Knicks is they are not nearly as deep as some of the other teams that we have talked about. They have a depth issue similar to the one that the Houston Rockets have right now, where if they can stay healthy over the course of a grinded-out 100-game season between the regular season and the playoffs, great. But if you see a guy or two that plays big minutes go down, your chances get real, real slim real fast. You know, I'm just looking here, some of the power rankings in the NBA, and they've got the Rockets at 5, the Knicks 4, the Cavs at 3, Nuggets 2. They've got, of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder at 1. ESPN's power rankings have the Los Angeles Clippers at number 6 on this list. And yeah, they've got talent, man. No question about it. Talent that in 2019 would have terrified you with Kawhi and James Harden, and they brought in Bradley Beal and Brook Lopez and John Collins, and they added Chris Paul, Ivica Zubac on this team, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Chris Dunn. They have a pretty good roster, but it is an older roster. Guys get worn out. Guys get beat down a lot sooner into a season, not to mention the Clippers have an ongoing investigation swirling around their heads with the whole Kawhi Leonard sponsorship deal with the aspiration thing. So that could get kind of interesting. This team is older, and with age comes health concerns. But I think they've got a ton of talent. The Minnesota Timberwolves are always a good one. I mean, when you've got Anthony Edwards, you're always going to be a competitive basketball team. But there's been a lot of turnover recently with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's not going to be the case this year. They actually returned 7 of their top 8 scorers. Their big issue, I think, is going to be the point guard position. I know they've got Mike Conley. He's been a reliable, serviceable point guard in this league for a long time, but he's older. And as you get older, you become less effective. And Mike Conley at times last year was incredibly ineffective for the Minnesota Timberwolves. What can he give you this year? Because they've got guys outside of them. Rudy Gobert is going to continue to lock down the interior of that, the opponent's offensive attack. You've got Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels is one of the better players, I believe, in this league in terms of wing scoring. He's a potential all-star candidate this year, a guy that could really leap into that category. Dante DiVincenzo, what they elect to do with him is going to be interesting, right? There's a possibility you could move him into the starting lineup. and move Mike Conley out. But that takes away a potential scoring option off the bench. They're an interesting dynamic there, right? The Warriors, who we've already talked about. The Orlando Magic have quietly built out a really, really good roster, but they've got to prove it. You got to prove to me you can take the next step, right? I love Paolo Banchero. I love Franz Wagner in terms of the 1-2 punch that those guys bring to the table. You brought in Desmond Bane. That's nice, but you're going to be without Jalen Suggs for a little while. That's your point guard. What do they do? I don't really know, right? They have got to stay healthy, and they've got to prove that this young roster can take that next step. And they're going to have to do that at the beginning of this year without Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner, both. Lakers, who we've already discussed. And then beyond that, there isn't really a whole lot that I see. The Hawks are a sneaky team in the Eastern Conference, I would say, this year. With the addition of Kristaps Porzingis, they brought in a couple of other depth guys. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is one. Luke Kennard has become a reliable three-point shooter off the bench.
The depth for me there. It
Yes.
seems like they can run, and I don't know the names off the top of my head, but it seems like they can run 9 or 10 deep. The last I looked of solid rotational guys. So the Hawks are definitely a team I'd love to throw in the ring as my sneaky contender out of the East for
I
sure.
would say so. I mean, Porzingis, and I say this as a Celtics fan who's watched it for the last couple of years, Porzingis has got to stay healthy. That's going to be a huge factor for this Hawks team because outside of him, you don't really have a guy that you can point to that's a true rim protector or a big in your offense. Yeah, you've got Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. Zachary Risashar should take a massive jump from year 1 to year 2. I loved what I saw from him, the rookie out of France. They've got some juice there, but they have to stay healthy. Jalen Johnson missed the better part of last year with shoulder surgery. Can he bounce back? Can Porzingis stay healthy? If those two things can happen, they could be really, really good because Jalen Johnson he's a 20-10 guy in this league. Porzingis, when healthy and effective, is a 20-10 guy in this league. Trae Young can give you 30 a night and 12 assists. They've got dudes on this team. But we got to see if they can sustain it. And that seems to be that's the trend in the NBA nowadays, right? Is whatever team's the healthiest at the end of the year seems to make it the furthest, like the Thunder last year. But we'll see. Just looking around at some of the other contending teams in the past in the league, right? Over the past few, like the Mavs are 13th. The Pistons, the Detroit Pistons are the number 12 team in these power rankings to begin the year. The Bucks at 14, but how long will that stand? Because there's been a lot of conversation about Giannis possibly getting traded. The Knicks are being thrown around a ton for trying to acquire the former MVP. The Celtics all the way down to 15. They would probably be the second or third team on this list, but Jason Tatum's out for the year because of the Achilles injury, and Jaylen Brown is already dealing with an injury so far to begin this year. The Spurs at 16. Find something to help Victor Wembanyama, please. They're trying, right? I think they got something in Stephon Castle. I liked the De'Aaron Fox acquisition. You got the number 2 pick, and you picked up Dylan Harper. He's a 3-and-D wing. But I got to hope for more because you got to take some pressure off of Wemby. Make sure that man can stay as healthy as possible for a very, very, very long time. And then after that, I don't really see any of these teams as overly competitive. I don't. The Pacers are all the way at 20 because of the loss of Tyrese Halliburton. Because it brings your offense to a halt when you don't have a guy like Tyrese leading the charge. Because that guy is a ball-dominant guard. He needs the basketball in his hands to be the most effective and to make that machine go there in Indiana, and they don't have him. So they could be in a position where they go from the NBA Finals to a top 10 pick in the draft, all because one guy got hurt. That's sort of a bummer. 913-586-7965 is our number. We're going to take a break here, come back, and I'll give you my prediction. I'll say it right here on the program, October 21st, who I believe Eastern and Western Conference opponents are going to be, who meets up in the finals, and who I think ultimately hoists the Larry O'Brien Trophy on the other side. Logan Weber here alongside Nathan Williams, After Hours, here on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC homebuyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CODE to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CODE for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
I woke up this morning feeling like I was coming down with something. Cough, congestion, headache. My first thought was, nope, this can't happen. I have big plans this weekend. So I took Mucinex Kickstart. It provides all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Thanks to Mucinex Kickstart, I didn't even need to cancel my weekend plans. If you start feeling cough and congestion coming on, take Mucinex Kickstart for relief with a kick. At your favorite retailer. Use as directed.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 25 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shields Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000. Gordon, Mississippi.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Disclaimer: an antivirus is just half protection online. It will not protect you from snoopers or encrypt your traffic. So get better online protection with NordVPN. NordVPN will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. Save 77% on NordVPN and get 3 extra months.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
All right, let's pull the crystal ball out. Let's throw some darts at the dartboard and see if we can get some of this right. Let's make some predictions. On the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, obviously culminating with the NBA Finals, who we think will be competing, who wins those series, and who ultimately wins the NBA Finals this year in the NBA. I first look at the Western Conference, and is this a fun pick? No, but I think it's the right one. I've got Thunder Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. I think they're the two best teams in the NBA, let alone the Western Conference. health is going to be a major factor for these two teams, but I look at it for these are they're the two best teams in basketball. Arguably the two best players in basketball, right? They met in the second round of the playoffs last year. I think they'll meet in the Western Conference Finals this year. Jokic against SGA. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. And if the Thunder can stay healthy with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, I mean, Chet's got 18 in the first half of this game. SGA has 5 points, and they're only down by 6. And Jalen Williams isn't playing. I think Thunder Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, and I actually have the Thunder winning it in 6 games.
Well, I understand that we are exporting health into there's no way to quantify that. And we've talked about that with the Rockets and their lack of depth, and then the big guys in the Thunder and how much their health could sway things, and the Cavs failing to stay healthy in the past. I'm assuming proper health for everyone when I make these picks. I think we're watching a preview of the Western Conference Finals as we speak. Give me the Rockets in 7 over the Thunder.
I like that. My Eastern Conference pick's a little bit more interesting. One of the teams that I spent a great deal of time talking about during the last segment is who I've got going to the East. I've got the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think we might align completely on our finals here. Let's hear your pick.
And I've got them matching up with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. I have the Cavs winning this series ultimately in 6 games, but from the perspective of if everybody can stay healthy, this Hawks team is so, they're probably the deepest team in the NBA, top to bottom. Like you said, they can play 9 or 10 guys with regularity. If they can get a healthy Jalen Johnson and a healthy Kristaps Porzingis with Trae Young, with Zachary Risashar primed and ready for that year 1 to year 2 jump that we see a lot of guys make, where he could become a 20-point per game scorer. Jalen Johnson's an all-NBA sort of a player. If he can become that guy and play 70-plus games, this Hawks team could win 55, 60 games and be a serious threat. And I look at them in a 7-game series against the New York Knicks, and I look at their depth that late in the season. I think that leans towards Atlanta. I've got them going up against the Cavs, but I think the Cavs are just too talented top to bottom. I've got Cleveland in 6 games.
You mentioned a team briefly that I really want to include here, and that's the Detroit Pistons. The guard play there, it's just fun. I'm going to go with the Cavs and the Hawks, though. Give me the Cavs in 5. Again, if we're assuming health, I think the Cavs are by far and away the most talented team in the East, but we are very aligned on the Hawks. So give me the Cavs in 5. So you've got Cavs Thunder, I've got Cavs Rockets.
And looking picking a dark horse, like a third dark horse sort of a team that people maybe wouldn't anticipate in the West, I'm kind of a little bit intrigued by the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know what kind of a jump Cooper Flagg can make, and they're like every other team in the NBA with health concerns. But if AD and Kyrie can stay healthy and Cooper Flagg can immediately become like a 20-point per game scorer, he's an elite perimeter defender who can provide you with some shot blocking in the post as well. I love how those 3 guys could pair together. If they gel and they do it quickly, they could be a team that could sneak up on somebody like the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder if they are banged up going into a second-round series in the Eastern Conference, or in the Western Conference.
Outside of teams that we've already mentioned in the West, I think there's just a few perennial recent contenders, such as the T-Wolves, the Warriors, assuming, again, LeBron is back and healthy, the Lakers would be in the conversation. So might be too many teams for the Mavs to jump from my liking to consider them in that third conversation. Hey, I'll be here to give you the props, though, if that ends up right next summer.
It would be fun. I guess a little bit. And then my dark horse in the East is not necessarily a dark horse. I think they're a team that's going to be like the 4 or the 5 seed, but I like the Orlando Magic.
Sure.
I really do. And so looking at a Cavs Thunder NBA Finals, it's not fun, but they're the best team in basketball. They've got a ton of depth. They've got 3 All-NBA players on their roster. They've got the reigning MVP. Give me the Oklahoma City Thunder to win that in what I believe will actually be a deep 7-game series, because I like the guard matchup. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland matched up with SGA and Lou Dort. I love the way that looks. I think both of these teams are really, really strong in the front court and in the back court. but I still think the Thunder are the better basketball team. And with SGA and that winning pedigree that they've developed, having won the title last year, I've got OKC actually repeating in a 7-game series against Cleveland.
All right, give me the Cavs over the Rockets in 6 in the finals.
I like it, dude. That'd be huge. Cleveland winning a title without LeBron, that'd be massive, man. That'd be so much fun for them. 913-586-7965 is our number. We talked football. We talked basketball. Let's change gears, talk a little baseball, on the other side of the break. We've got some messages in the text line I want to take a look at. Let's talk about what's happening on the diamond. We got a World Series coming up later this week to break down. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
BetMGM is inviting you to charge the field this pro football season. Existing BetMGM customers can have a ball without having to sweat. Log into your account to get a pro football no sweat token. Apply the token to your next pro football bet. If you lose with the token attached, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. That's right. With a no sweat token, you get your stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's nothing like a fresh set of downs. And that's just what BetMGM is offering if you don't win with a no sweat token. Find your favorite matchup and be part of the action. Make this pro football season one for the ages. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299.
Fast cars, barbecue, and live music. Bring the family for Burnouts, a car show, Kid Zone, and Chris Jansen live Saturday night. It's Boost and Barbecue next Friday, October 24th and Saturday, October 25th at Flying H Drag Strip, Odessa. Kids 12 and under are free. Online at boostandbbq.com. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
A fun-filled and entertaining ALCS has now led us to the World Series. It was a Game 7 come-from-behind victory last night for the Toronto Blue Jays over the Seattle Mariners. After going down 3-1 in the fifth inning of the game, started off with a Josh Naylor single that got the scoring started for Seattle. The Blue Jays came back with a Varsho single to knot things up, but then Julio Rodriguez went yard in the third, Cal Raleigh went yard in the fifth, and Seattle went into the bottom of the seventh inning with a 3-1 lead. And it looked like for the Mariners, hey, we're going to win Game 7. We're going to go on to compete for a World Series championship. Toronto said not so fast. Specifically, former Astros great George Springer, who went yard, 3-run shot, scoring Barger and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, giving Toronto a 4-3 lead, which they would then hold on to get the win. So it's going to be Toronto taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series starting on Friday. My question, does anybody give the Blue Jays a snowball's chance in hell of beating LA in a 7-game series? My answer, no. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They've got the billions of dollars in deferred money to show for it. They are going to win this series. I do not see an avenue where the Blue Jays can win. The Blue Jays hit a ton of home runs. Yeah, give them all the credit in the world for that. But this pitching staff for the Dodgers is friggin' ridiculous, man. I mean, they're going to start Blake Snell in Game 1. They will probably go to Yoshinobu Yamamoto in Game 2 would be my guess. It'll be Glasnow in Game 3. And then likely in a Game 4, it's going to be Shohei Ohtani on the bump.
Give me Ohtani in another clincher, man. Oh, my goodness. Logan, I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I calling anything a sweep, I think, is just dangerous. But, you know, I want to. Considering that pitching staff in general is more insane every time you think about it. And then especially compared to the Blue Jays specifically, who's a team that, you know, compared to the rest of the league, doesn't really spare a whole lot of resources. They spend money. They ship off talent from the minor leagues. Like, this is a team that goes for it. And it's just not even in the same universe when it comes to the pitching matchup head-to-head. So, you know, I'll go Dodgers in 5 here, you know, under the theory that, yeah, the Blue Jays offense is probably good for an explosion at some point, probably one of those games at home. But I don't really have a whole lot of reasoning behind that. It just kind of is what feels right.
Yeah, I mean, when you just this Dodgers pitching rotation is just the numbers are ridiculous, right? I mean, Blake Snell in 3 starts in this postseason, he's pitched 21 innings. So he's pitching an average of 7 innings a night when he starts. And he's got a .86 ERA. He's given up 6 hits and 2 earned runs in 21 innings. He's got 28 strikeouts. He's got 20 more strikeouts than he has combined hits and earned runs. You add in his walks, he still has twice as many strikeouts. 28 compared to 13 combined hits, earned runs, and walks. Gross. Then you throw out Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is in 19 2/3 of an inning, throwing a 1.83 ERA. 18 strikeouts to 13 hits. He's only given up 4 earned runs. Tyler Glasnow, a .68 ERA across 13 1/3 innings. 18 strikeouts to 7 hits. And then Shohei Ohtani. In 12 innings, he is 2-0, 19 strikeouts, 5 hits. those four guys, have a combined whip under 1 and a combined ERA under 1.5. Oh, and then let's just bring Roki Sasaki out of the friggin' bullpen just because we feel like it, and he's got a 1.13 ERA in 8 innings. That's all. They just need 5 guys. They just need those 5 guys to be on the bump, and they're fine. Oh, but they also have guys like Alex Vesia and Blake Trinan and, Clayton Kershaw out of the bullpen, who did not perform well in his one appearance this year. But Jack Dreyer has pitched limited in this series as well, in this postseason run. They're absolutely absurd when it comes to their pitching staff. And we haven't even talked about the damn lineup, which features future Hall of Famers in Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. They've got star players like Will Smith and Max Muncy and Tommy Edmond and Kike Hernandez and Teoscar Hernandez. Tommy Edmond, a guy that they brought over from the Cardinals who looked like his career was on the downswing, and he became the NLCS MVP last year. This team is stupid, dog. And I agree with you. Like, this feels like a series that the Blue Jays will just, get one, right? It'll be a 3-0 series, and Ohtani will go out in Game 4, and the Blue Jays will go nuclear and score 8 runs, and the Dodgers will be like, oh no, just to come back and win Game 5 11-2. But I really don't think it's gonna matter. This Dodgers team is absolutely ridiculous. They got healthy at the right time, and we're seeing it come to fruition, right? We saw Blake Snell be limited this year because of injuries. Same thing with Tyler Glasnow. Sasaki missed time with injury. Yamamoto missed time with injury. All those guys back and healthy at the perfect time for them, and off we go to win another World Series.
Yeah, you mentioned about 19 guys off that roster and didn't mention their all-star that's hitting 9th in their lineup, and Andy Pages, the guy that caught the final out of the LCS before tossing the baseball into the crowd. He caught the fly ball to win the Dodgers the pennant, and
lack of awareness there.
The most exciting part of their celebration was him throwing the ball into the crowd. That's the scariest thing, and the thing that gives me the most assurance out of any of this, to maybe think that it's not just guys, blowing steam on a radio. Everyone else in the league has to be seeing this as well. That celebration after they won the pennant was disgusting. They formed a handshake line and said, let's do it there's nothing. And then you watch the Blue Jays last night, and you just won the pennant. That's so significant. And so it's not just because of a track record of recent success. The Dodgers have won 5 pennants in the last decade. That's great success. But it's not like all of these guys, the Snells, the Glasnows, the Yamamotos, the Sasakis, these guys they came here in the last year or two to this team. And same with the Freddie Freemans and the Shohei Ohtanis. It should not be this expected to win until you consider that they're getting this feeling from the accumulation of resources that ownership has. And so this is the bigger conversation for maybe a later day this offseason about how it's going to change this sport here in about 18 months. They're going to be better next year. They're going to have these guys fully healthy at the start of next season. Shohei Ohtani didn't pitch the regular season this year, except for a few, opener, type starts later on in the season.
Yeah, he didn't have a 6-inning pitching outing as a starter due to his health until September.
Yoshi Yamamoto might be the most talented pitcher I've ever laid eyes on. The guy, just watch him pitch. It's insane. The movement on his pitches is insane. I'm not saying he's the best pitcher I've ever seen. The text line, let's not get that twisted here. I just raw stuff. This guy might be the best I've ever seen. And so I would pick him right now to win the Cy Young Award next year. We're not talking about guys that have done this, like Snell and Ohtani, who's going to be healthy. Adding Sasaki into that thing. Glasnow being healthy. They're going to be better next year before the dam breaks, the following year with the CBA talks. So it's an absurd collection of talent.
Yeah.
Absurd.
The National League, the pennant celebration or lack thereof, I think was very indicative of what I've been saying for a while now for the Dodgers this season. It's felt to me like they just sort of went, not necessarily through the motions, but this felt like a year this year for the Dodgers where they could not have given a damn about what their record looked like in April and in May and in June and in July and in August and frankly September, right? They played baseball to get to October. That was all it was. They could have gone out. I mean, it felt to me like watching the Dodgers, it seemed to me like if they wanted to win 110 games, they could. But there was no reason to, so why do it?
The only marker for them was the division. I mean, they even thought, not that they were able to, directly pick their position, but I mean, I'm sure they thought, oh, hell, if we have to play an 84-win wildcard team for 3 games in this first round, so be it. Like, they weren't even worried about rest.
No.
When the Padres got close, the Dodgers seemingly turned it on, and like, it seemed that easy. So it's not like, some teams expect to win. The Kansas City Chiefs, they expect to win. So the players are more used to those big moments. They might celebrate a little differently than a team that's never been there, like the Seattle Mariners would have, or the Blue Jays, who haven't in 30 years. This is a team that knew they were going to win, and not because the umps have it in for them or that things are rigged. This team knew that they would win, and that's not a place the sport should be in.
No, it is not. But here we are.
And look, I'm sorry to cut you off. I will criticize every other team in the big leagues before and at the same time that I criticize the Dodgers. Like, every single team that has let one of these stars go has made a huge mistake. All the reports is that Ohtani let the Angels match the Dodgers' offer if he wanted to, and they chose not to. We know the Red Sox moved on from Mookie Betts at the drop of a hat. We know the Freddie Freeman agent situation, that maybe things weren't handled right in Atlanta, but again, Atlanta had a right to match that offer. The Rays have let a couple of guys go. Snell's been on 3 teams since then, and they, other teams haven't. Like, it's not just like, oh, the Dodgers are playing this game without restriction.
Right.
Financially, they are, yes, and that's different than other teams. But I do want to criticize the rest of the teams that have let these guys go and allowed this to happen. I don't feel bad for the rest of the big leaguers. I just want to get that out there. But for the viewer, it's not a place the sport should be in.
It is not. It is not. But regardless of how we got here, this is where we are. And somebody in the text line saying the Dodgers are not undefeated. We know that. But they can beat anybody seemingly at any time if they just decide to. And with it being the playoffs, it certainly feels like the Dodgers will lose this series if they beat themselves. I don't think the Blue Jays have enough juice to beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going to have to cataclysmically collapse in order for them to not hoist the Commissioner's Trophy here coming up in the next week or so.
Who did the Dodgers play in the division series? Was it the Phillies?
Yes, that was the Phillies.
Let me look at this real quick. Okay, so the Dodgers are not undefeated.
They lost 1 game in that series against the Philadelphia Phillies.
They are 9-1 in October. I mean,
correct.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah, since September 30th, they are 9-1
in the playoffs. Excuse me,
in the postseason. Yeah. They're 9-1. Pretty close to undefeated. And that game was an 8-2 drubbing in a series they were already up 2-0 in.
And it's not a 9-1 in the sense of the 2014 Royals went 8-0 and had magic in a bottle through the DES and the CS. This is a team that, like we're talking about, as is scary, seemingly can just flip a switch.
They can do it at any time they feel like it, is what it seems. And this is a team that can put 15 runs on you while simultaneously holding your lineup to 3 hits. Like, that's how balanced and deep this Dodgers team is. 913-586-7965 is our number. We saw not 1, but 2 Monday Night Football games last night in the NFL, and they had results that made perfect sense. I think most were anticipating them, but there were some interesting storylines to come out of these 2 games last night in the National Football League. We'll discuss that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber here with you alongside Nathan Williams. Our number, 913 586-7965. This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Basketball is back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the action. Doesn't matter if it's buzzer beaters, block parties, all of that. You can win money by making entries right now on the Missouri side. It's easy. Just choose your favorite players to go higher or lower. Points, rebounds, steals, and so much more. I love being over at Underdog. They've got so many different ways to play, too. Drafts, ladders, streaks, pick'ems, and champions. No matter the style of entry you want to play, they have it at Underdog. Download the app today and use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Here we go again. Windows for Warriors is back, baby. Powell Exteriors KC accepts nominations October 1st through November 1st for military veterans and first responder heroes as a thank you for their service and sacrifice to our country and community. Veterans Day, we will announce 5 lucky recipients of free Energy Star window upgrades. It's this easy. Go to powellkc.com and click the Windows for Warriors link to nominate your hero today.
If you're in the market for a new home or looking to sell your home, you need to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. And with so much inventory coming on the market, buyers have choices. The Sharp Homes team helps you stage, photograph, and present your home so its qualified buyers remember and want to fight to buy your home. Contact Dawn and her team via Google. You can just Google Sharp Homes Team. That's Sharp Homes Team. And start packing.
Hey, folks. I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Millions of fans agree. This Christmas tradition rocks. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert, presenting The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. Saturday, December 6th, 2 shows, T-Mobile Center. Reserve seats on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss this season's most exciting concert experience. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert.
Thank you, KC, for voting Century Roofing the best roofing company in the Metro in the Stars 2025 KC Favorites competition. After 35 years, we're giving back to you by extending our free material upgrade sale through the end of the year. Get a free upgrade to impact-resistant shingles with any roof replacement for better protection and possible insurance savings. Trust the best, Century Roofing. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for your free estimate today.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Century Roofing, we've got you covered, KC.
Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom. We've got a powerhouse lineup of guests this season. Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler bring you insight from the booth to the field on weekdays and game days. Insider scoops from Nate Taylor and Josh Briscoe keep you up to date all week long. Former linebacker Derek Johnson, and oh yeah, 2-time MVP Patrick Mahomes. Don't miss a minute all season long right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Well, the Detroit Lions proved last night that they are still, in my view, the team to beat in the NFC. And the Seattle Seahawks continue to prove that them betting on Sam Darnold was the right decision, and that the Minnesota Vikings letting him walk was the wrong one. Detroit beating up on Tampa Bay last night, 24-9. And how about the day for Jahmyr Gibbs? 136 yards on the ground, a pair of touchdowns. That included a 78-yard rushing touchdown in the first half of this football game. He was the catalyst for the Detroit Lions offense in this football game last night. Jared Goff, 20 of 29, 241 through the air, a touchdown and a pick. He was sacked 4 times. Jahmyr Gibbs also had 82 yards receiving in this football game on 3 catches, including a 30-yard long. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches for 86 yards. He had the lone receiving touchdown in this one. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, it was an unimpressive day for the offense. Baker was 28 of 50 for 228 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He himself was sacked 4 times, fumbled the ball once. However, it was recovered by left tackle Tristan Wirfs. Cade Otton was the leading receiver for Tampa, 7 for 65. Rachaad White, 10 carries for 38 yards. So the loss of Bucky Irving reared its ugly head, and things went from bad to worse for Tampa in this football game. Emeka Egbuka was pretty ineffective. He only had 4 catches on 12 targets, and as he still is seemingly hampered a little bit by the injury bug. And then Mike Evans left the game with a collarbone issue, literally not even a half into his return from the IR. He's now back out for Tampa and is probably going to miss the rest of the season or most of it. He was diagnosed with a broken collarbone today. So he is going to be probably put back on the IR, going to miss a considerable amount of time once again. So it was all in all a good day for the Detroit Lions, and I think makes that Chiefs win against Detroit last week look oh so much sweeter. To go beat them by 2 scores, and then to see Detroit go out yesterday and beat Tampa by 2 scores, a team that people were starting to have as a trendy NFC championship team. Like, hey, they might be the best team in the NFC this year.
Hand up.
And Detroit says, no. We're still the class. We're still the cream of the crop in the National Football Conference. And they went out and took care and more so than anything else, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, phenomenal day. Really, really impressed with what he did. But that Lions defense yesterday, I know that the Bucs were banged up, especially with the weapons, and then Mike Evans goes down again. I get it. But this is a Lions defense that was, especially in the secondary, grasping at straws for answers. Right? I mean, no Brian Branch because of the suspension. Kirby Joseph didn't play. Terrion Arnold didn't play. You saw Rocky Sin leave during this football game. They went with Amik Robertson at one point. I mean, they are trying absolutely everything they can right now. Arthur Millette was their starting nickel in this game. You know, when they had been rolling with Avonte Maddox at points this year, but he's hurt right now. They're just grabbing guys off the street to play DB right now. And you held Baker Mayfield, a guy who was an MVP candidate and probably still is at this point in the year, to 228 yards passing on 50 pass attempts. And you forced him into throwing his second pick of the year in this football game. Really, really impressive work by the Detroit Lions secondary yesterday.
It was. I think I'm with you in terms of them being the favorites. I want it to be the Packers. They're just not consistent enough offensively right now.
I cannot make a decision about the Green Bay Packers right now.
But if you're looking at the Lions and the Eagles as sort of the class of the conference with, granted, Achilles heels on both of those teams. They're not infallible, but they're probably the class of the NFC. The Eagles are kind of they're the defending champion, and you and I both called the Lions the favorites. But I think the rest of the field is still kind of set and just full of a lot of frisky teams. It's going to be a good bracket. The Buccaneers, like you mentioned, and they will get Egbuka back. They will get Bucky Irving back. And you didn't get good Baker Mayfield himself last night either. So maybe that's partially due to the Lions' effort, but I still think that the Bucs are better than they're showing last night. The aforementioned Packers, and then the NFC West is probably getting 3 teams into this thing. The Rams and the Seahawks both look really good. Both could be better than their records show. And to lead into the other Monday Night Football game here, I mean, I guess the only team that I'm looking at is the Bears are 4-2. So at some point, they're going to keep accumulating wins. And does Sam Darnold fall, come back down to closer to earth a little bit here, and maybe I'm watching the Seahawks on that 7 line there, but otherwise, whereas the AFC is a total mess right now, I think the NFC is pretty set in stone.
It's the better conference. I think that anybody that follows the NFL would probably agree. The NFC is much better positioned and much deeper than the AFC is right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's 2 teams that you're giving a chance to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC, right?
Legitimately, yeah. Realistically, it's the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody trusts the Indianapolis Colts yet.
There's plenty of teams in this conference that could go win a playoff game. Matchup dependent. I'll give that to the Patriots, the Broncos. I'll, of course, give it to the Colts. I mean, I'm not taking any of those teams seriously for a deep January run, though.
I wouldn't either.
In the NFC, I could see any of those 7 teams doing that.
No question. No question. And you mentioned the Seattle Seahawks. They went out yesterday, got a win 27-19 against the Houston Texans, a team that continues to perplex, I guess is how I would describe it. The Houston Texans on paper look like they should be a pretty good football team. I know that they're without Joe Mixon, but I feel like they've got 2 pretty good running back options in Nick Chubb and Woody Marks. However, neither one of those guys is doing anything. Nick Chubb's 5 carries for 16 yards yesterday. Woody Marks, 15 yards on 10 carries. And then the wide receiving core, which I know that the Texans come in shorthanded already this year, with Tank Dell being out with the injury and all the things. But you still have Nico Collins. You drafted 2 wide receivers out of Iowa State in Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, 2 guys that I can definitively tell you are good football players. And it's just not clicking. I mean, Dalton Schultz was their man last night. 9 catches for 98 yards on 10 targets. Okay. And then the defense, which I thought would take another step with guys like Azeez Al-Shaair and Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Tommy Togai, Derek Stingley. I really thought that this Texans defense would emerge as a top 10 unit in the league. Hasn't happened. And the offense being bad and sputtering is only going to exacerbate that problem. Seattle last night, did Sam Darnold have a phenomenal day? No. 17 of 31. A touchdown and a pick. He was completing just over 55% of his passes yesterday. They did just enough on the ground. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet combined for up over 4 yards a carry in this football game. Kenneth Walker, 17 for 66. Charbonnet, 12 for 49 and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker fantasy owners, eat your heart out that Charbonnet gets both touchdown carries in this football game. But like you said, the Seattle Seahawks are 5-2 right now, and Jackson Smith and Jigba is a superstar. JSN might very well be, by the time this season concludes, unanimously known as a top 5 receiver in this league. Is that fair or unfair to say? I mean,
it's beyond fair. It's beyond fair. I mean, the conversation for anyone starts after Jefferson, Chase, and Puka right now. I mean, there's not a definitive consensus number 4. For him to not be in that conversation would be asinine. So I think that's a completely fair.
I mean, right now he is tied for 5th in the NFL in receptions with 50. The only players with more, Jamar Chase leading the league with 58. Puka is in 2nd with 54, and he didn't play on Sunday. Christian McCaffrey, third in the league with 53 catches. Makes sense because the Niners have had nobody else to throw everybody else is hurt. Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys is fourth in the league with 51 grabs. And then you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jackson Smith and Jigba with 50 apiece. He's done that on 70 targets, which is a lot of volume, right? The only guy with more targets than him of those guys that I just mentioned is Jamar Chase. Chris Olave has 71 targets. So JSN is third in the league in targets. But he has 819 receiving yards. Jamar Chase is in second with 629. He's got 190 more receiving yards than the guy in second. And the guy in second has 8 more grabs than he does.
You say, how many yards does he have?
819.
We've played 7 games.
In 7 games.
If you extrapolate that,
117 yards a game.
It's 1,990 yards if he plays a full season. I mean, that
2K receiving yards. Oh, that'd be absurd.
That's just not a guy you would consider for a season like that. And there's a lot of season left to go. Injuries happen. They could have their position locked up before week 18, not have to play a full season, right? But yeah, at his current pace, and this is we're no longer having the conversation like, hey, it's early. Mahomes is leading the Chiefs in rushing, but it's early. He's not going to do that all season, right? It's week 3. We've had those conversations a lot. We're almost halfway through this thing.
Yeah, it's week 7. We're up over a third of the way through the season. And the one thing that I heard was like a major knock against JSN as this season was progressing was, oh yeah, he's picking up a ton of catches, he's picking up a ton of yards, but he's just not finding the end zone, right? Through the first 4 weeks of the season, he only had 1 receiving touchdown. And you're like, when is that breakthrough going to happen? Well, he's got touchdown catches in each of the last 3 games. And his stat line in each of the last 3 games is absurd. 8 catches for 132 yards and a touchdown against the Bucs. 8 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown against the Jags. And then last night, 8 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown against the Houston Texans. He is a legitimate superstar in this league. He looks like a guy that is going to be a top 5 finisher in the Offensive Player of the Year voting and could be considered one of the odds-on fate. Right now, I would look at him as second on that list, behind probably only Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts right now. He seems to be the guy that you look at as the Offensive Player of the Year winner as of this moment, right? He's leading the league in rushing yards by over 100. He's got 2 more rushing touchdowns than Josh Jacobs. He's the only guy in the league with double-digit rushing touchdowns. He is having a remarkable year this year. But so is Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I would agree with you. He would be number 4 for me among receivers in the league. I am one of those people that still believes that Justin Jefferson is all around the best receiver in the National Football League. But I have no problem putting Jamar Chase as the number 1 and Jefferson is 2 or 1B or however you want to say it. Puka's number 3. And right now, I believe JSN is that number 4. And I would say Amon-Ra St. Brown probably rounds out the top 5. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But those 5 guys are playing at a different level than everybody else in the National Football League right now. Outside of maybe George Pickens, who's having an incredible year with the Cowboys. 913-586-7965 is our number. Talking about the NFL, I got a couple of interesting stories I want to break down for you next, including the latest power rankings, courtesy of ESPN in the National Football League. Where do the Chiefs stack up? We'll let you know that next here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Nathan Williams, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Smokehouse Barbecue has always been our choice when it comes to barbecue in Kansas City. We love everything about Smokehouse Barbecue. And now Smokehouse has street tacos, their newest menu item. 3 flour tortillas, chopped burnt ends, and smoked sausage, plus corn elote and Cajun sour cream and a side. And now, every Tuesday, kids eat for $1.99 with the purchase of an adult entree. So visit Smokehouse Barbecue in Gladstone, Zona Rosa, or Independence, and at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
The biggest impact I get to make is seeing kids graduate.
I find it the most meaningful to be able to work with kids and see the smiles on their faces when they figure out how to read.
I felt really strongly that my faith was calling me to be a person who serves others.
The only way that things are going to get better is if we all try to lend a hand.
Volunteer in your community. Visit showmeservice.org. Sponsored by the Missouri Community Service Commission and the Corporation for National and Community Service.
Flu season is here. Get your flu shot today at your local Hy-Vee pharmacy. It's easy, convenient, and no appointment is necessary. Plus, when you get your flu shot at Hy-Vee, earn a 20-cent fuel saver. That's right, a 20-cent fuel saver. Get your flu shot when it's convenient for you. Schedule online or just stop by your Hy-Vee pharmacy. No appointment necessary. Help your family stay healthy. Get your flu shot and get a 20-cent fuel saver only at Hy-Vee. See store for details. Some restrictions apply.
Hey, Zach. Are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun. I'm switching.
Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
BetMGM is inviting you to charge the field this pro football season. Existing BetMGM customers can have a ball without having to sweat. Log into your account to get a pro football no sweat token. Apply the token to your next pro football bet. If you lose with the token attached, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. That's right, with a no sweat token, you get your stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's nothing like a fresh set of downs. And that's just what BetMGM is offering if you don't win with a no-sweat token. Find your favorite matchup and be part of the action. Make this pro football season one for the ages. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Let's go.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Tip off the pro basketball season Tuesday night at Twin Peaks with a doubleheader featuring the defending champs OKC. With bar stools and corner booths that rival courtside seats, the Lodge is your Hoops HQ all season long. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Man, the Jets are the Jets. I don't know how else to describe it. Here's a nice headline for you. Jets owner defends Coach Glenn, blames winless start on quarterback Fields. Okay. Yes, Jets owner Woody Johnson spoke today about the struggles behind his 0-7 New York Jets, and during it, he was asked about the quarterback situation. You know, he said that the decision about whether to go with Tyrod Taylor or stick with Justin Fields is completely up to head coach Aaron Glenn. However, Johnson did turn around and say that, you know, it's when he was talking about the job that Coach Glenn has done and saying that he's turned around certain parts of the team, but later added, quote, "It's hard when you have a quarterback with a rating that he's got. I mean, he has ability, but something is not jiving. You have to play consistently at that position, and that's what we're going to try to do for the remainder of the season." He later delivered a line when speaking to reporters at the fall meeting, quote, "If we can just complete a pass, it would look good." Hey, Woody, sometimes it would be good to just shut the hell up and be the owner. All right? Jerry Jones, you are not.
There's no world in which this doesn't make him or Aaron Glenn look worse. I don't care how you look at it. Okay, Aaron Glenn's the head coach. He's doing a great job, but our quarterback stinks, and he should have went with the other one. So we are criticizing Aaron Glenn then. So you're crazy, and you don't realize the irony there, and we're criticizing Aaron Glenn. Or Aaron Glenn really did make the right decision, and it's your fault and the front office's fault that we haven't gotten a better quarterback. Why didn't we trade for Matt Stafford? Why didn't it work with Aaron Rodgers, why didn't you go get Sam Darnold, who was available? Or heck, figure him out the first time like the rest of the league has. Like, what am I missing here? In what world is this not the fault of ownership, the GM, or the head coach?
Yeah, it's just typical top of the
quarterback's fault who was cheap and failed in two other places.
Yep. He's a scapegoat.
By the way,
he's an easy guy to blame, right?
The other head, until it's Aaron Glenn being the scapegoat this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
That's, again, another
as long
story
as it's
for
not
another
Woody
day.
Johnson's fault, right?
Exactly. But there was, I forget what it was, the GM or the owner. There was a story that came out that he and Aaron Glenn hug every day and talk about how good of a job he's doing. So, hey, they might be 0-37 right now, but the guys in the front office are hugging.
Yay.
So the Jets fans can take solace.
Yay. You know, at least we can have a manly embrace in the meeting rooms when we discuss what we're going to do with the number 1 overall pick after we go 0-17. Fantastic.
I'm all for mental health, supporting your people. If I'm a fan of the team, don't want to hear that at this point in time.
Hey, it all sucks, all right? It's not just Justin Fields, although I understand the impulse to blame the quarterback because it's the easy thing to do. Speaking of drama in the NFL, how about Danger Russ, huh? How about Mr. Unlimited going at his former head coach Sean Payton on social media today? Sean Payton said after the game Sunday, in which the Giants absolutely collapsed and led to a Broncos victory, that he was hoping to face off against Russell Wilson rather than rookie quarterback Jackson Dart. Sean Payton said, they found a little spark with that quarterback. I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. So apparently, Russ took exception, took to social media, where he wrote, quote, "Classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you were still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media." Okay, Russ. He's usually a guy that, despite the weirdness that surrounds him, he's usually He's usually a pretty quiet guy, especially when it comes to like social media. But he did not seem to like what Sean Payton was throwing around at him the other day.
I'm not one to stand up here and defend Sean Payton a lot of the time, but he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. Sean Payton's correct. Yeah, you want to face Russell Wilson instead of Jackson Dart in the year 2025.
Unlimited.
Duh.
Yeah, you're not a good football player anymore, my guy. We all watched the Chiefs game. Like, it made perfect sense. He should have wanted to play you instead. And you should be hurt, right? You should be upset that Sean Payton said it.
It's true.
But you can't say he's wrong. For my producer, Nathan Williams, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us here on After Hours tonight. It's going to be Bink with you guys tomorrow evening from 7 to 9 o'clock. That'll do it. After Hours here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.